that some of the media coverage of the Ukraine war is actively undermining the trust in established media organizations, especially among people of color and certain marginalized sections of the audience. Could this actually be the reason why the wars in Africa, with tyrants slaughtering millions, will not enjoy such media coverage? We have seen so in Congo, Chad, in the Central African Republic. We are actually witnessing a genocidal onslaught in the backyard of Africa, that's Amazonia. The former British Southern Cameroon and the post-Rwandan genocide world is watching with tight-lipped and with blind eyes. How is this possible? Well, that's why you now have Undaunted on ABC Amba TV, and we will be bringing into the news Untold Stories. The past 7 days have been bloody. 4 days ago, the military killed 5 Ambazonia fighters in Alabu camp of Nizam County. In a Kondo city yesterday, the Ambazonia Restoration Forces targeted the convoy of the colonial DO. He died alongside the mayor and 3 others. This morning in Madagascar, Foncha Street, the military shot a bike rider. He also died on the spot, and his passenger survived with several injuries. 5 days ago, a nurse working with a bingo annex was killed by unknown gunmen in Mountain, Bamanda. Remember last week, Ibrahim of Mawa Hotel and his friend were gunned down by a French Cameroon soldier. What a bloody way. It will appear across the national territory of Ambazonia. The heat is on. The Ambazonia Restoration Forces from the northern zone to the southern zone had some successful surgical operations against the forces of occupation. On a very important note, and the fears of the National Treasury, the President of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako, calls Ambazonians to stay calm. He once again is telling his people, I am the strategic thinker, so much to expect from ASSC too. This will be a very vital observation of Undaunted tonight. But first, let's get the prime headlines.
Prime headlines. Racist war reporting undermines trust in media as controversy surrounds the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Ambazonia Restoration Forces firepower hits hard from the northern zone to the southern zone. La République du Cameroon terrorist soldiers kill 4 civilians in Mancon early this week. The Judicial Commission of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia schools Mr. Cometa and his accomplices on the law, constitutionality, and governance. Plot to unseat Dr. Sako crumbles as Dr. Titer uses 90 minutes to vindicate self. The Ambazonian Restoration Council is not a political group regulated by politicians, says the president of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Ikome Sako.
Racist language and the coverage of Russia's invasion of Ukraine will have viewers switching off. The truth is, we need a media we can trust. This is particularly important in times of war. In recent days, I have been worried that some of the media coverage of the Ukraine war is actively undermining the trust in established media organizations, especially among people of color and certain marginalized sections of the audience. I will explain why I am so worried, but first, I need to state 2 facts. Firstly, that war reporting is one of the toughest assignments any journalist will have during their careers, and that many journalists covering the conflict in Ukraine are doing an incredibly important job under incredibly difficult conditions. Secondly, that we are not human if we do not have sympathy for the victims of the terrible war that is currently being waged by Russia against the people of Ukraine. These two facts may seem so obvious and self-evident that they need not to be stated, but I am about to criticize one important aspect of that excellent journalism and discuss the sympathy we need and should have for all victims of war. Let's see how other media handle.
Fellow Ambazonians, this is your Vice President. When a handful of people embark on a journey to derail our revolution, while failing in their attempts to fuel the engine with the people's gas reserves, they start shouting and throwing tantrums at something as innocuous as the moon. They look up and see a man in that shiny gas bubble, holding a revolutionary axe as they struggle to push that almost hijacked revolutionary train without the ability to fuel and take it to another destination. They come to a rude awakening that the man with an axe in the moon is the one whose name has become the household name in this revolution, both to true revolutionaries and revolution busters. Indeed, one will never cease to be amazed by some people's capacity for hyperbole. We will surely stabilize our revolutionary train as we come together each time amidst distractions. Now, we will fuel our revolutionary train to enable it to navigate to its desired destination, because the last word belongs to the God that ordained our revolution. We call on all Ambazonians to join us next Thursday, March 10th to March 13th at the ASSC 2 in Washington, so we can collectively grease our revolutionary engine, purge the destructive scum that almost pushed our train off the tracks, and to ensure it gets to its logical destination, which is the seat of our government, Boya. Those good people who got swept away by lies and unconstitutionality must always remember that falling prey to lies is a reversible human fallacy, and one must be bold to make redress, abandon those negative impostors that made one prey to a deceptive beast of destruction. Remember, taking control of one's dark thoughts is an honorable path to redemption. Come back home, my fellow Ambazonians. Let's join our president, Dr. Samuel Ikomesako, during the ASSC 2 in Washington, D.C. to strengthen our revolutionary construct. My fellow Ambazonians, thank you, and God bless us all.
Fellow Ambazonians, good evening. Once more, you're welcome to this very important exclusive discussion we'll be having tonight. Caption Special ASSC 2. During this session, I would say the first broadcast of this special ASSC 2 talk show, we will be focusing on what the conference, the Ambazonian Stakeholder Strategic Conference, has to offer. How or what will this one, what is the difference that this particular stakeholders conference will make in our struggle, owing to the current chaos, the current mishap, situations that were unforeseen and that has been contained this far. What can stakeholders do to stop such from repeating? What is new? Why the conference? All of these questions are questions that we have former Secretary of community mobilization and resource and community mobilization, Ambrose Itenje, is here to answer. And he may also be giving to us a glimpse. I understand that he is part of those organizing some vital issues with the conference. With me on the platform will be our ex-team mother woman, Mani Marashetima. She just left a program with the women, and you heard from them the way they spoke passionately. She, in spite of her busy schedule, is here tonight to be the only woman among the testosterons. We have with us Pastor Commando, a mentor, a wise speaker, and a host that will be here to fill in as we go ahead with the program. Without any waste of time, I'd like to welcome these individuals as we get into the studio. Good evening, Pastor Commando, and Marashel, and Secretary Ambrose. Good evening, lady and gentlemen.
Hello, good evening. It is a pleasure to be here and welcome to the Ambazonian people at home. We know that very soon we will be out. 21 gun salutes to the defenders, and please stay tuned to the truth and don't divert. Very soon we will be reaching our point. And to all televiewers around the world, this is Amba TV. You are number one, and we are glad to bring you good tidings. Stay tuned.
Yeah, good evening, Paddy. Good evening, Pastor. And always nice to see you and nice to have you alongside. To the people of Ambazonia, I will say we're proud to have you there on Ground Zero and those in the diaspora, keeping to your promise of liberating our people. So all we have to do is we succeeded in Berlin, we are going to succeed in Washington. So I call upon all of you to watch the program. We'll answer the questions that will be able to enlighten everybody, and will have paved the way for us to meet in Washington on the 10th up to the 13th. Thank you. Comrade Paddy,
Commando
are you there?
and Secretary, can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, thank
Five
you
on
very
five.
much, Pastor Commando and Secretary Ambrose, for making out the time so we can have this very important discussion. Like you highlighted, if we could succeed in Berlin, then we will succeed in Washington. Now, before we even move into Washington, perhaps it will be important for you to make some contrast between pre-organization or pre-conference of Berlin and pre-conference of what. Secretary Ambrose, please, you have the floor. You were part,
Okay.
you were part of Berlin pre-organizations, and you are a part of Washington pre-organization. So let's hear from you.
Okay, thank you so much. I will just take people back a bit. The turbulence we are having today is not different from the turbulence we had when we promised to deliver the ASSC 1 in Berlin. I remember at that time when Dr. Sacco announced the ASSC 1 in Berlin, we were faced with those who wanted to organize the APNC, and we wasted, I think it's 3 or 4 weeks in meetings that were forced upon us to endorse APNC, whatever it was. And at that time, I said it, and I will still repeat it today. I said we've just created a concept, which is the Amba Peace Plans. We are putting in place our RGAs, and we hope to meet in Berlin to be able to set that foundation straight and do the things we think are good for Ambazonian, and put in something, a tool that will help us to be able to liberate our people. We had opposition with people telling us those who wanted to organize APNC and were not patient to even come to Berlin or even hear about the ASSC one, telling us, "Oh, how long would it take the urges to be formed?" My answer was simple: it can take us as long as it can, but insofar as we have above 25 solid urges, we'll be going to Berlin and we're going to hold the ASSC 1. And then from beyond, we'll continue to build. We'll continue to decompose the counties and build the edges to get where we want to. So it is not strange that we want to go, the ASSC 2 was announced, and then immediately we came into these sort of problems again. Is it because the president called ASSC 2 that we had to face APNC 2, which we are facing today? So for me, it is a deja vu. It is what we've been there before. So what I'm expecting to our delegates, to the grassroots, is we're bringing the people together. That is the intention of the cabinet, intention of the president, to bring Ambazonians together. Let us look back. We do a 360-degree feedback into what we have achieved since we left Berlin. And then we're going to sit down, talk together, and see what can we change to make it get better. We'll be able to evaluate the achievement we've made. And then we're going to say, what are we going to put in place to be better in 2022, to be better in 2023, or to even be in Boya by the end of 2022? So, my dear brothers and sisters, as I will say, keep calm, get prepared, turn up in Washington. Those of you who can't be there, please, via Zoom, join us through Zoom and let us deliberate and help liberate our people. Because the focus of this revolution is not about me, it's not about my sister Marisha, it's not about Pastor Commando, it's not about you, Paddy, because most of you are self-sufficient. It is about the suffering people there on ground zero, the people feeling the pain. Those are the people who want to free. But if somebody feels that he is going to stop that, I just believe we're going to throw our weight behind everything to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary Ambrose, for that elaborate, I would say, a foundation for our discussion, making people to understand, like the president said, whatever is happening now is a deja vu. Manu, you're welcome. The floor is yours. You're muted, please.
Ambazonians.
You're muted.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Secretary Ambrose. Thank you to have you in this very wonderful session. That you are coming a long way for those of us who know, talking of ASSC, too, we have the fingerprints for some of the, yeah, some who are coming from the ASSC one, especially you. We were there in Berlin. It was a great show. It was masterpiece. It was something that will remain in the minds of Ambazonia because it has really laid the foundation of that bedrock for which no one is going to forget. APP is something that as Ambazonia will remain, as we are fighting, as we are craving and longing. APP will remain and we shall forge forward and succeed. And those LGAs, as we are seeing them today in every part, the Defunct Restoration Council, the Treasury, and the counties, everything, we are going to remember that. And a big thank you will always be to you. And I also greet the man of God, Pastor Commando, the historian. I don't know which one to take him. We just thank you. I'm happy to share the panel with you. And to you, King Paddy, words cannot describe, really. I can't say much. I will just say thank you and thank you again and again. And for this wonderful ASSC that is coming, ASSC 2, I'm just pleased to be at the panel today to share whatever is there on the plate the best I can. And we can never do anything less. We can only do the best for the people of Amazonia. Everyone is invited, and I'm pleased to be here, Paddy. And I
Yeah,
leave the
thank
floor
you.
to you.
Thank you very much. Fellow Amazonians, there are lots of things we're going to talk about. I started, I gave some snippets of a whole lot of our discussion when we had news earlier on today, and we'll get deeper into them. Fortunately, we have some architects, those who were practically involved from the genesis of it. You heard from the mouth, you heard from the man himself, the mouthpiece, I would say, an architect, one of the architects behind what we're calling today the Amba Peace Plan. We are going to get into that because that is the focus of the ASSC, which is all about ground zero, trying to mobilize resources to protect. Because what's the Amba Peace Plan? It has a caption: mobilizing and uh, defending our counties, LGA by LGA. Pastor Commando, we're going to get to you really quickly, but maybe I should put a focus on this. Let us talk a little bit on some of the challenges that has been faced prior to this time. The most recent has got to do with the treasury. And while we talk about the treasury, we have to also look on the APP, the way it was and ratified, and the attempt to hide by second in command of government. I'm talking about Dr. Abongwa. Was it based on some of the loopholes? Because we need to get into the crux of the matter to find out if it was based on the loopholes of ASSC 1 or maybe implementation, because you can vote all the laws, bring all the policies. Implementation could be the problem. So today we want to figure out, because stakeholders are watching, Ground Zero is watching, the public is watching. On Thursday, the public will be given the opportunity to make their own decisions and to make some, they will pass in their opinion so that their representatives in the House or within the ASSC will be voting for the right thing. But we want all that the people are voting or deciding or making informed decisions, not mis or disinformed decisions that some platforms that are currently doing. So number one, let us find out the problems that were faced when it comes to implementation management. There was an attempt to hijack this platform, APP, and which leads to what we are facing today with the National Treasury. So, Secretary Ambrose, Pastor Commando, perhaps you want to add something to that before Secretary Ambrose gives to us a detail on what is it a limitation of management, which has to do with the executive branch of government, or it was a poor calculation for on the side of the stakeholders who met in Berlin some 3 years ago. I'm talking about 2019. Pastor, you want to add
Thank you very
something
much.
before Ambrose speaks? Yeah.
Okay, yes. Yes, Paddy, thank you so much. I know that the chief is in the house, and my respect, Secretary Ambrose. This is the second time we are coming together on the panel. And as for Ma Rachel, well, Mama, thank you so much for keeping Ambazonia ablaze. We need to be hearing those things and to let our people know. Well, coming back to the ASS1 in Berlin, uh, I don't like to use unfortunately. Fortunately, I was not there, but I came to queue into almost every decision that was taken in that place. Paddy, I want to let you know that, and let the Ambazonians know that everything that is going on now and the struggle we are having is because most Ambazonians, listen, most Ambazonians grew up in La Republique to Cameroon, where the rule of law is outdated. They have everything in paper. Some of them have it in their head, but it has never sunk in their hearts to obey. And so they find it very, very difficult to obey stipulated laws, even laws that they have signed, and they have, kind of appends their signature to. They find it very difficult to obey those laws because of their upbringing. Being brought up in an unruly environment will always and obviously cause this kind of problems. And so what I'm seeing here is that with the present interim government doing everything to reinstitute the government that I saw in the early 60s, when I was brought into this world, with our formal governments, calling Dr. Endele and the rest of the people that you already know. Now, this government of this interim government at this juncture wants to reinstate that kind of a government. But the difficulties that we are finding, which is as a result of the brought up of so many people, and they come in now to make it in such a way that it should not work. Now, also what was decided in Berlin and was brought in to govern us and to help us alleviate our people from suffering at home, some people are finding it a little bit difficult just because when you want to implement the law and put it into perspective, they try to give you names and to tag you certain intimidating names that if you are not a man of your words and a man to obey the Bible of the country, which is the Constitution. I call it the Bible of the country because I'm a Bible man. So when you are finding it difficult to obey simple laws that you are put together, there is one logical conclusion. It is because you know that when these laws are put in place, you will be guilty. And a lot of people know that if we stand by what we are standing now, they will have no place in Ambazonia. Meaning that if you cannot lead, or you cannot lead people by your example, so what are you leading them about? Is it the theory that you're going to teach them?
Yeah,
Theory?
we should.
Nobody will want to go by theory. They want to see you be a practitioner. All right. So many of them are the groups there. They are saying auditing. Have they ever submitted themselves to auditing? And the other groups, I've heard a lot of people call me and say, "Hey, Pastor, why is your government not submitting to auditing?" Blah 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 blah. The laws in Berlin were very good, but the implementation is where we are having a little problem. And I said summarily that the problem is because of the upbringing, but we are bent to bend those who are in Ambazonia now. If you are an old stick in Ambazonia, get ready, because either you will break or you must bend, and then we'll bring the generations that are coming up to see the obedience that I saw in the 60s. I'll come back. Thank you.
Thank you. If I listen very keenly, Pastor Commando, Secretary Ambrose, Pastor Commando is saying that the problem we are facing is a problem of a mindset, upbringing, the Cameroon upbringing that has tainted the mentality of our people. That's what Pastor Commando is saying. And he has also blamed the mishap, the fortunate situation we find ourselves today on implementation. It was the responsibility of the executive arm of government to implement what was agreed upon in Berlin. If you agree with him, what do you think can be
Well,
fixed?
to be candid, these two things about the mentality and also about the implementation, it is not a yes or no answer to that. With the mentality, I believe he's right with the majority of the people. Those of us who left home at the age of 17, never worked in that place, and just decided to go. Well, I moved to Brazil, and then from there travel the world. Never gone there. I think I don't feel like somebody who has that mentality, and I believe there are a lot out here in the struggle who don't. But those who have been there and have picked up that, you are very right, and they can fall into that bucket. So we do have some buckets where we can be able to put people inside, and those who fall in that bucket are causing a bit of issues, which is right. As for implementation, I would say our issues really is not about implementation. It is about a few individuals,
Security.
not so, with whom we all, because a lot of people contributed in the writing the Amba Peace Plan. And there were a lot of arguments during that writing. We were doing it online and all the like. And again, the ideas, there were certain things you need to be able to compromise, and then we bring them in. But there were certain things which I drew the red line because I knew exactly what I was doing. There was a red line, which was we wanted the struggle to be from the grassroots, right? Because we wanted to bring the government closer to the people. And we
Right.
also saw that in order to generate funds, our potential is in our people. And in order to be able to make Ground Zero feel that we are connected to them, we should be able to do our part while they do their own part, right? That was the red line. If you are telling me that something else, that I should start somewhere else, like again, we went right to the edges. There were people who were there, oh, let's stop at the county. I was just like, if I ask you a county, give me a county, can you be able to feel a county? But if I tell you an LGA, I will look at Margaret, I will be able to feel an LGA because she knows where she belongs. She knows where her house belongs in that LGA. So it the LGA for me. I saw that they were the smallest unit of implementation that we should have put in place, and which luckily most of those which we could be able to do are in place. So now there were still people pushing the agenda. I think I had issues in Fako because Fako wanted to stand initially just as a
That's
county.
okay.
And there were a lot of arguments and counter arguments. I had over my period at the Home Affairs and Community Mobilization, I had over 24 meetings just with Fako alone. Be it in Moyoka LGO or be it in the boy LGA or with their counties and all the like. It was tough, but again, we did our best. But I think one has to go. So we did our best to be able to do this thing because that implementation, okay, that's why I'm getting towards that implementation is those who wanted it to start from the county level, but we succeeded to push it right down to the LGA levels. So now, what we didn't put in place, and Dr. Commando, is clearly define terms of reference for the structures in the Amba Peace Plan. That we didn't put in place. And we allowed now the LGAs and the counties to make up as they go. We just put in a structure, oh, there has to be a chairman, there has to be this, and then we need this. But we really need it, or what we are trying to do now in ASSC 2 is making sure that we clearly define how the LGAs need to operate, how the counties need to operate, so that it is seen as a rule of it can be a green paper that is used over the whole territory. You understand? In the different LGAs and the different counties. Not that somebody in a county is deciding to be what? He is the county chair. No, let's go to the LGA. Somebody in the county, in the case, First Commando, you know very well. Somebody being the county chair, and somebody again still the county chair. He is the restoration council person, and that same person is in charge of defense. So those are the things that kill us, because if you look at the individuals that try to crumble the counties and the LGAs, these are individuals who had 3 or 4 different positions. Look at Dr. Epard. He is the LGA chair for what? Konguti. And he is the Restoration Council member for Konguti.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so now there are no
Yeah.
checks
And
and balances. You can do
the
anything,
defense.
but there will no legislature around him to be able to check him. You know, it's just like you sign the check and pay the check to yourself.
Right.
Then we had the same thing in Ndonga Mantum. Is it no not Ndonga Mantum in Menchum. Frank of
Mm-hmm.
Menchum
Frank.
was the chair of the
Right.
county. He was the head of the defense, and he was the
Mm-hmm.
treasurer.
Mm-hmm.
So how would this work? So, although in the Amba Peace Plan, it wasn't stated, but when we went through these meetings and talking to the LGA chairs and county chairs, we said it clean and clear. You can't have two positions. There were a lot of argument. Why can't you, if you're competent enough? But we know this, because when you do have these two positions, you'll be able to use them to your own advantage, which many of them, well, maybe some individuals who had this position have not done that, but those who did, like in Momo, where we started having issues with loss of money lost because of the county chair of Momo, and those from the LGA decided to say enough is enough. They voted him out. So now, if we didn't put that clause that if you are not an LGA chair, you can't be a county chair, he would
Mm-hmm.
still have been the county chair for Momo today. But
Right.
you being
Right.
the county chair for Momo, representing who? You don't even
Yes.
have people
Ooh.
behind you, a constituent.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's just some people saw that as a loophole and they exploited it, especially these issues of double position or three positions
Well,
in parties. So, and this is what we will try to curb. Again, is work in progress. Those who have genuine mind and want us to succeed and are focusing on us bringing that economic potential to be able to run things on ground zero will not think the way these other people are thinking, to accumulate power and then use that power to be able to make us go quiet. Their intention is to sell it to La Republic, but let me tell you, the Amazonians of today that I know, that will not work. That will
It
not
will not
work.
work.
We will not be here
That's the past
tomorrow,
tense.
and our children
Mm-hmm.
that see us
Yep.
every day sitting and fighting for this nation. Let me tell
Mm.
you, they will be there fighting, even in the next how many years? Thank you.
Manya, I'm coming to you because you participant. You are a stakeholder. You participated um, in 2019 ASSC conference. But Secretary Ambrose has said some things which I want to highlight before we welcome Chairman Theo Fusi. You're welcome, sir. I'm glad you made up the time to join us. I miss your busy schedule.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Comment Paddy, for having me. Uh, oh yes, I see the smiling face of my friend and my mentor, my elder brother, Comment Ambrose. It's a pleasure to share this panel with you today.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you again.
I know.
Oh, yeah, you have
But
Mani. Yeah, you did not see Mani. It's
that's
Mani
why
is
I'm
here.
coming. You know,
hierarchy.
I see Manu most of the time. Manu, it's a pleasure to share with you.
Thank
And
you, Chairman.
my honorable man of God, it's a pleasure and a
Oh, we
blessing
thank
to
you.
have you on the panel with you today. I
Thank
want to
you.
greet all of you. Yes, Comrade Paddy, once more, thank you for all you're doing and happy to be here with you today.
I'm grateful that you respected this invitation, even though it was short notice. Pastor Marashia, this is something. Secretary Ambrose has mentioned something very vital. You realize that where the loopholes were clearly seen, the recalcitrant, the consequence was also clearly felt, especially in Guti. You had I use the word recalcitrant because it's not an insult, it's a description. You had the one who was sign his check and pay it. And this Dr. Elad, he is the architect. Now confirmed information. It's not a fabrication. He is amongst the architect of the certain committee at the
No, no, no.
Restoration
That is
Council.
Dr. Epa. Don't confuse
Dr.
here. Dr.
Epa.
Dr.
Epa.
Epa, sorry, I'm sorry, Dr. Epa.
And he is the
Yes,
architect, yeah.
he is one of the masterminds behind the arrogant behavior, the terrible behavior we have witnessed from the government committee of the Restoration Council and among those who are creating the havoc we have. We made to understand today, Ambazonians, I hope you're being informed, and that's why we have Chairman Fusi here, because we want to find out if the chairs are playing the role to their people, so that their people are in whoever they're sending to represent the ASSC, and also to ensure that the people are making informed decisions. Because somebody didn't know that Dr. Epa was a man of his own volition in the entire LGA and county and creating her. Today we have known it. Manyi, do you want to react to that quickly before we get to Chairman Fusi? Because he has to tell us the atmosphere at the level of the county with the county chairs and what the Mezambi particularly is doing in preparation for this conference. Please, Manyi, react quickly.
Thank you, Comrade Paddy. Thank you very much. The thing is that they really say you can't read the mind's construction on the face. And the word of God says man's actions are good, but it's only God that knows their intent. Somebody like Dr. Epa, the first time I met him, or the first early encounters I had with him, was in the prayer room, prayer sessions. When we were praying for our struggle, him, I don't know whether it's the sister or the wife, they were very active. I said, wow. I remember when Pastor Commander and Pastor Victor mentioned the upper room prayer house. They now said, oh, I'm not there, get me into the house. I just said, wow, this is good. Men and women alike are praying for Amazonia. The thing is that you will hardly know who is who and what they really have on their sleeves. The way the event turned, you know, I saw Dr. Epa again coming to represent being the committee chair in the Momo election to put in place the new executive bureau that we have today with Barrister Ghana and the rest of it in Momo. You know, it's later on I came to understand the dynamics because that time they were saying there is the Momo cabal, Momo cabal. What I see in this that, for example, he came into Momo to come and pull down the Momo cabal that was Jackson, Egiawan, Atianjong, and the rest, thinking that they were the people who were obstructing him and the rest not to get to President Sako as they intended. But along the line, he realized that they were working in the same team, but they hadn't found themselves together. That is why you see them working together now very tight. And each time you mention this fact that he was the electoral committee chair for Momo that day is something he will never want to really welcome it, you know. But a man in that caliber to know the executive role and to know the legislative role and to sit to wear both hats at the same time and sit in both institutions in the Amazonian quest for complete restoration and independence and causing the havoc that he has caused in meetings where we have attended the extended cabinet meetings with him and the yeah, you listen to a man in that caliber talk, the confusion, the letters he is part of, and you hear the meeting in the RC, the way he communicates with the people, what he's really fighting to destroy. Let's destroy him. Let's take away the. Let's just impeach him and take all his powers. He has so many powers. We have to destroy them. We have to take away some of his powers. This is how he describes President Sako. So I really begin to wonder what is really behind the mind of a man of this caliber coming into a structure and fighting to be the head of an LGA, and then to go to the Restoration Council to represent that LGA. If it were not for construction, was it really for destruction? Why would a man like that sit up, meet a structure? Because we hear that he was in La Republique in 2020 as going in as candidate for one of the, well, maybe his council election for the CPDM party. When others were fighting to be laying the foundation stone for the restoration of Ambazonia, Southern Cameroons, he was still in La Republique. One thing I will say here, that is the lack of background check. When we do not do enough background check, this is how we heap with us every kind of maggots into the house. And when lizards do come, we start complaining. People like that really should not really be. I just thank God that we say this revolution is a God ordained revolution, and He manifests Himself at every step. When this, I will say, when these demonic people shamelessly, facelessly decide to do things without looking left and right, and the next minute you ask them, they say people are dying, and people are dying on ground zero. People are dying on ground zero, but yet what do you do? What are your contributions? You turn around and just destroy the same people you are claiming to protect. And he's not the only one. And he's going along as an elderly statesman with young men following him, with young women just going with him in this geister, this ghost train. You know, they just drive. They don't know whom they break on the way. They don't care. He has caused a lot
Damage.
to the Ambazonian people. So I will just end it here to say um, some people like him should really be brought to check. It's unfortunate that we do not yet have a court or somewhere that we could really take some people. Let them. They need to go for psychological checkup. Really, because it is really a shame and a disgrace to have senior statements men like this to function under such capacity and destroy what young men like Secretary Ambrose stood in Berlin, and young women like us that were there to vote for the resolutions, for them to come in and break through and destroy. Kometa was not even there. He was in Nigeria when people were in Berlin to do things. He was in Nigeria. They have worked hard to destroy it, and it's very painful. So
Yeah, thank you, Marashel. And this brings us to a very critical point. Um, a very, very critical point. I want Amazonians that are watching, you keep sharing, those that are watching particularly from Facebook and on YouTube, keep sharing and informing that we are live. It's a time when you have to make decisions. This is way beyond a talk show. This is a time when we are coming to inform those that have been misinformed by mostly Arno and some activists who are short-sighted and who are not disciplined enough to even read our constitution. It's vital that Chairman uh, Theo speaks now, because it's all about mobilizing from the grassroots. You're going to interject in the future, Secretary Ambrose. It's about grassroots, and you are at the helm of governance, shared governance at the grassroots. You are the county chair for Mezam. You have been chair for the Bafut LGA, and I believe you're doing a good job. Mezam is a very vital or critical place in the war against French Cameroon. In fact, that is the boiling pot. But it has been quite, I would say, seemingly quiet for some time. Is this strategy? I remember after your draft last year, I had an interview with you, and you mentioned things are going to happen. Well, based on appreciations, there's a lot to appreciate. There's also a lot to criticize. But let's focus now on ASSC. The vice president believes that it is a conference that is going to recalibrate, refocus, where stakeholders like you are going there to re-strategize. But you should do so with the compliance of those that have you in office. I'm talking about the people of Mezam, from the LGAs, the simplest units. How much mobilization have you done? What are your people saying? What is your appreciation of the uh, organizing of this conference thus far? Please talk to us.
Comrade Pade, thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you for the question. It's quite a long question, but I will start from the last one, which is about mobilization of the LGAs. Uh, yes, it's not been easy. I would say that with all conviction, that it's not been easy, and that's the gospel truth. It's not been easy for a couple of reasons, which are obvious. At this present stage of our revolution, it is plagued with different kinds of canker worms, and it is hard to decipher where how to I mean to categorize where these different species belong actually. And if we actually consider this revolution with that phrase, God ordained revolution, and then you will have to agree with me that uh, God is actually piloting those who are pursuing truth, justice, and our unconditional independence for British Southern Cameroon, Amazonia. This quest has actually been it's been troubling to so many people because of the mixed information, misinterpretation, and smear campaigns on both sides. But then, what does the common man? How how does the common man receive all this quagmire that is out there? All this, craziness that is out there. It is really worrying and worrisome, I must say. But the good thing is that Ambazonians want to be liberated. They want to get to Boria sooner than we even think. And we must accept the fact that the grassroots, they are suffering. They are
Hmm.
actually suffering. I mean, we cannot
Yeah.
emphasize this statement that they are suffering. They are in tears, they are in pain, they are emotionally tattered. I mean, they are destroyed right deep in the core. So at this stage of the revolution, if people do not look at that to be something very important, and then who are we fighting for? What are we fighting for? So this has to come to mind every time every person who say he's persecuting this struggle. Truly, if you don't think about this, think about the suffering masses on the ground. Now I'm talking about our LGAs. If you don't think about what they are going through, and then you have to really sit back, re-examine your thoughts, your thought process, and then, go back deep into your better nature and ask yourself, this very golden question: why are we fighting for? What are we fighting for? Why are we fighting? Now, if you are here in the diaspora, doing everything to support Ground Zero and what is going on there, but on the other hand, you are still trying to destroy what we are trying to build. It's hard to comprehend. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because Bafut, for example, I think Bafut is a microcosm of what is happening now in our struggle. Like you said, for 2 years now, Bafut has been silent. But I must make this clear. Before these 2 years, Bafut was constituted in a different way. Before the formation of LGA by LGA and county by county structure, thank God I am sharing the panel today with one of the architects. Uh, you know, Bafut had the seven kata that was coordinated by the coordination, which was predominantly abroad, and they had been fighting a good fight. They had been fighting a good fight. They were the pride of the northern zone. If you
Yeah.
talked about the northern zone, you have to relate to Bafut. But little did we know that it was not what we were seeing. it was kind of infiltrated from a long time ago. We did not, we thought we were, I mean, in this unison, fighting this revolution as one. But gradually, things started metamorphosing, and then we started seeing the real and the true faces of those who were handling Ground Zero as far as the ARS were concerned. That might be a detail of this might be in the next. I mean, whenever I come online again, but
I hope
I
I'll
must
bring you for that discussion.
of course, because it's pretty long, and I am really fired up to say the truth and nothing but the truth. Because again, this is what's gonna take us to Boya. Now, as far as Bafut people are concerned, I always want to take on the smaller side before I go to Mesa. Uh, Bafut, as far as LJ is concerned, they have been in this. They have been their emotions have been really watered down by the happenings recently. Uh, I think we all know about the kidnappings. We all know about the torture. We all know about the sufferings as far as Bafut is concerned. So a lot of people, they have lost a lot of momentum. They've lost a lot of the passion they had because they tend to realize exactly that those who they were relying on for protection and guidance were doing the opposite. And they were not actually aligning with the APP plan and following what was clearly stipulated. They did a complete opposite. I mean, for the past 2 years, they've been doing just the complete opposite of what we expected. And that has really dampened the zeal that the food people actually had for the struggle. But I must say this that even though because of the suffering, Bafut people are not very enthusiastic, but there is still a reasonable, I mean, a considerable number of Bafut people who are bent on seeing this struggle to the finish, and that involves those who actually constitute Bafut LGA, and we are still doing what we started. We are still mobilizing. We are still preaching the gospel truth, the right path to take. We are still letting them know that this structure under President Sako Ekome is bent at taking us to Boya. So that is the narrative we are giving down there because, no matter the disparity and the different ideologies that is hanging left and right, we have to be focused. We have to know exactly what path we are taking. The revolution now is like an, how do I consider it? I mean, it's plagued, but again, uh, light cannot be overshadowed by darkness. And the truth, as long as we pursue the truth, no matter how long it takes, we will always triumph. I believe in that. I believe so strong in that. So, as the Bapuchi, I'm doing my best. The executive, we are doing our best to let the Bapu people understand that this revolution is again, I like to use this word right now because it's actually what it is. It's a God ordained revolution, and we have to do the right thing to get to Boya as fast as we can. Uh, like I said, Bafut has a lot to say. We are doing our best, and I believe that the notion
Chairman
this.
Fusi, Chairman Fusi, I just want you to talk on something which is very
Yes.
vital, and I will link it to some of the comments you've made. You have mentioned the challenges faced, the dismantling of the original or what was perceived as Seven Kata and the firepower that was taking place in Bafut. I
Mhm.
remember some of those images were quite inspiring. And this is the core reason why you are on this panel today. We would want to know what you are doing. How are you taking advantage of this stakeholder strategic conference to recalibrate, refocus? What are some of the things we should be expecting from Bafut and Mezam as a whole?
Yeah.
How have you to educate your people as they are approaching this conference to make informed decisions as pay from the level of even the delegates that will be sent? Please.
Uh, Yes, thank you again. Most of the time when I start talking and have to go back to Bafut, I get carried and maybe sometimes I get, I mean, just because of the importance he attached to me. Yes, as far as the question is concerned, buddy, we are doing quite a lot. Uh, Myself and the executive, we are doing a lot of mobilization, and all the delegates, they are quite informed about what they need to do, and they've already shared in the various committees. And as I speak, I think they are having a meeting. They're having a meeting. All of the delegates that we've chosen, actually, they actually volunteered to take part in this in the shared committee. So we are putting our heads together and we are coming up with our own resolutions and our own, propositions and inputs, hoping that it will be looked into. And I think that will not only help Bafu, but it will help the whole structure, it will help the whole institution, and it will help the whole of Amazonia as well. I might not be able to go into details about what has been carried out in the various committees because, like I said, they are having a meeting now. But be rest assured, those who have taken this challenge or those taken these responsibilities, they are up to task, and they are also very fine minds. So I think they are doing a great job to come out very powerfully during this ASSC2. That's far as far as Bafut is concerned. As far as Mezam is concerned, I must say that yes, Mezam is actually very very strategic as far as our revolution is concerned. And before anything comes out of Mezam, it is well thought of, it is well planned, it is well uh, informed, it is well sieved, and I mean it goes through different stages, and what always comes out is always the best. Uh, Mesam is dynamic. Mesam is special, and Mesam is also very strategic. Uh, all the LGAs in Mesam, believe it or not, they are blessed with some of the finest brains we have in this structure, in this government, and in this revolution. And thank God we also have our VP, VP Ate, who is doing a tremendous job. He is also weighing in so powerfully to see that things go the right way. So I have not had. We will be having a very short meeting with all the cheers and all the delegates. I think tomorrow, and I think we will be putting down. I mean, all the various points that have been discussed in the various LGAs, so that we are in sync on what's going to be presented. But again, like I said, Mezam is doing a marvelous job. All the LGAs are really fired up, and they've been doing a good job to sensitize their people from the grassroots. And we are expecting that Mezamites will actually participate in this very special conference coming up on the 10th. Again, you know, Mezam, like I said, Mezam is very special, and they always do things the right way, and that is why they are very strongly behind this interim government under our president, President Sako Ikume. So be rest assured that the conference is going to be uh, highly attended by Mezam, and the delegates are fired up to give in their best. Yeah, I think that is all I might have to say for now.
Okay, thank you very much. If I understand very well, you are saying that Mezam is having nominees, elected nominees based on grassroots consultation, and you, from Mezam perspective, the conference come Thursday is going to be historic. Am I correct?
Yes, you are very correct. I think from when this the conference was planned and sent out there, the public already started welcoming it, and a lot of questions came up directly to me, and I've been trying to answer those questions the best way I can. And my connection down with the Ground Zero, not only through the LGAs but as the chairperson, I've been having
Please, Manye, you may have to mute Pastor Commando, please. Okay, go ahead, Chairman.
Yeah, I've been having lots and lots of questions coming in from individuals from Ground Zero, and I've done my best also to let them know exactly how important this conference is. That if they can chime in, they should do everything possible to sign up, chime in whenever they have the chance on the first day, because their opinions and their ideas and their thoughts will also be taken into consideration. And I've talked with 2 or 3 cheers from the other LGAs, and they also have the same. They have the same view of how their LGAs is preparing and gearing up towards this conference. So I think it's gonna be well represented, and it's gonna be well attained by the grassroots. So yeah, I think pretty much we are confident about that.
Thank you very much. Secretary Ambrose, please.
Yeah, Chairman Teo, nice to have you again, and I'm glad that Ms. continued to be very strong. I think the last time I spoke to you, or the last time we actually spoke, is when and these are very young and valiant fighter, Commander Aki passed away, which to us he remains great and remain great to the people of Meza. I know the difficulties you faced there and all that you did, even to make this young man great as you did and did the stuff he did. But I know you're going to face more challenges ahead. And I believe with the ASSC 2 coming up, what we intending for Mezam as a county and Mezam being a critical county in the northern zone is for us to, as neighboring counties like from Momo, we will be able to make sure we work closely now with Mezam to be able to execute the things which we can execute in Mezam, because again, let's be very clear, Mezam can't do it alone because of the huge presence of these individuals there. So it is but clear that you have to work, try to push further towards Momo, push further towards Gokotunja, and then let us see how we can be able to really make things happen differently. Because what I know with the LGS and the counties is we have been so focused about ourselves, about our environment, and that right now the next sensible step we're going to take if we really want to bring this liberation struggle to the end is trying to see what are the pain points in our revolution, where can we hurt the enemy most. So if we begin to gel together, pull and see those pain points and work together with you people, even the enablers and all the like, most of them are hiding there in Mesam. So in any case, there is no other way than for us to work together. So I'm glad. But now my question to you is, in your House of County Chairs, what is the preparation
Secretary
as the
Ambrose, we're
chairs?
going to get Secretary Ambrose, please.
Okay.
We're going to get
Okay.
into that discussion of the county chairs. What I really want is based on the concerns Chairman Theo has presented, for you to give that expertise at the level of the county, so that Pastor Commando can come in with a moral in for that. We're going to get into the chaos, should I say chaos or disagreement in the House of County Chairs, and then you can make that comment so that we don't miss out on anything, please.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe you've
Okay.
heard
Good.
some of
Thanks.
the strategic errors, the concerns of Mezam. Other counties might be facing similar issues, or may have some things that need to be learned, because it's all about Thursday. The people are coming with informed decisions, and we want to make sure that this education on ABC Amba TV be made.
So anyway, one thing is very clear. What Mezam needs is potential capability to increase. We need more money for Mezam anyway. That's what I would say. And the only way you can be able to get that more money for Mezam is to be able to make sure that we bring in more people from the grassroots who are buying our ideology and who are making things happen. And they will only buy our ideology if the actions you are doing on the ground are visible. That is the most important thing. If I have to give any advice to you as a chair, that is what I will say. I know you're doing everything possible. I know you're putting all the pieces. I know you are patient. So the only thing is let the people come support you, provide the funds you need, and then let you gel with work with the different urges in Mezam to make sure that things happen. And if you need a push from Momo, Marasha, maybe I'm not speaking for all the Momo, but I know that if you need to push from Momo, we are there to be able to support. Thank you.
Yeah, just to throw in a little bit. Thank you so much, Dr. Ambrose, for that input. And yes, of course, I think MESAM cannot function alone. Uh, and before now, we've been trying to work in collaboration with all the neighboring LGAs. Neighboring counties, and we were talking on how we can collaborate to actually uh, remove or divert the attention that MESAM receives. And like you said again, that actually needs a lot of coordination. I think going forward, we're gonna take that into consideration and actually uh, do more than we have done so far. Again, if we try to divert the attention that MESAM is having and even function in a different way, I think it will actually make our ARFs have some rest in Nizam and then maybe strategize well to actually deliver decisive blows. Most of the time, I don't like to always talk about security issue on the air in this kind of platform. But again, be rest assured that there's a lot in the making. There's a lot in the making, and I'm gonna be sharing that with you privately so that we can put our heads together and deliver what our people actually are expecting of us. Again, I think going forward, things are not going to be uh, the same. There's a lot of new impetus. There's a lot of uh, new new ways to implement and to carry out activities that will give back the name of Mezam, and why not give back the name of all the counties in the northern zone? Yeah.
Pastor
Comrade
Pastor
Pade,
Commando.
can I just say something here? Can I just say
Okay, go ahead,
something?
please.
I just want to chip in that there is one thing that I think I believe we of Momo we have implemented, and it has really worked for us. We've really found ourselves. Try to find the people with whom you people are speaking the same language. Find them together. So you stay under the same platform and begin to work from there. So by the time you have one, two, three, four, five meetings and someone is not around, you don't go looking too much for that person because that person will know I am supposed to be in this room. And if they are not in that same room with you, just keep on working with those you have in hand so you don't get confused along the line if this is the person I'm supposed to work with, or you give the person a responsibility and hoping that they're going to come home with something and you wait and wait like we're waiting for voodoo who will never come. So you just that's one thing that we did, and I think it has really helped to keep some of us healthy and that we are preparing for the better days ahead. So I just thought I should chip in this if you would take it as a take home message too.
Thank you very much, Mara Shea, for that. Pastor Commando, at the end of the day, you mentioned earlier on, this is all about mindset, the way people perceive, the way people understand. And it is part of your duty in this struggle as the spiritual director, the office of the president, seeing things from the mountaintop. What are the loopholes? What, after politicians like Chairman Teo would have spoken, and strategies like Ambrose, after all they have said, we want to know what do you think counties must have to take into consideration as they prepare or choose reps for the ASSC too? You've listened to everyone speak. By now, you have a clearer understanding as to why Bafut LGA and Mezam County as a whole has not really met what they were supposed to meet. Chairman Theo has told us outrightly that there are some infiltration, and I understand for strategic reason he chooses not to be specific. We understand. What will you be telling those selecting or nominating or electing delegates to represent them for ASSC from a moral perspective?
Yeah, I think I will just pick up from where Ma Rachel ended by saying that if you give a responsibility to somebody one time, two times, three times, and the person doesn't come on, don't run after that person. That's an indication that that individual might be there for an opportunity and an opportunity for self. Uh, I'm glad to hear Secretary Ambrose says you left the country when you were 17, right? Is it you who said it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing with me. I left the country when I was 17. And I think those people, most of the people who left the country when they were 17, uh, anyway, when I talk of 17, I'm talking of 17 in those days, not the 17 of today. We grew up with some
Right.
morals, we're given some morals. And these morals were required that a man be found truthful in whatever he or she does.
Then,
And when it comes to the Amazonian revolution, I will see the trajectory that the thing is going with a number of people, and you will all agree with me in this house that when we just started, everybody was very, very focused. At that time, money was not in play. When the young men decided to take up arms and they were ready to fight with everything. Some of them came with den guns. They went and found out the den guns of their
Sticks.
fathers. Some came with
our gun,
odeshi. Some came with every kind of thing. I mean, everything that they could have had in their
catapult.
hands. Make sure that they devastate La Republic and send them out. They were willing and ready to do it, and they were doing it until this evil genus came in and introduced what they call money. And we all know that money can make even a devil to temporarily and momentarily become a Christian when he sees money. And and at that point in time, uh, the focus is shifted to another god, and that's exactly what I would perceive happened in Bafut and the other countries. I mean, the other counties that are really sitting down there. And when this started happening, the devil and the infiltrators, they took an upper hand and an opportunity, and they were now giving these guys what made them to turn away from their focus from what they were actually going into, to be running after a shadow. I call it running after a shadow, because as far as I know, there is no "I am sorry and have mercy on me" in the vocabulary of La Republique. No. When you have finished what assignment they have given to you, the next thing is that you'll be guillotined. And they do it strategically in such a way that if you are not sitting overside, being a seer, you may not be able to deduce that this is the handiwork of La Republique. And they do that in order, saying that they want to wipe out evidence. They will set you up, and when you are killed by that individual whom they have set you up to kill you, they will kill that individual in order to cover evidence. And we are strategically seeing that they are not using but La Republicans to do the dirty job that they are doing in Ambazonia. They are using the very Ambazonians. And I go back to say that they are using these people because they are gullible. And the gullibility amongst these people, even though some people jumped out of the country at a very tender age, but then wickedness runs through the DNA of a number of people. For example, you see the wickedness of Mr. Bia showing on the children. You know, that's the daughter behaving the way she's behaving. What did she do? She went to school, she did everything like every other person is doing, but the DNA of the wickedness of the father is telling on them. And that's how the wickedness of a number of Amazonians who have decided to sell their own brothers for less than 30 pieces of silver is still working overtime with them. And I listened very attentively and keenly to the Secretary of State for Communications when he mentioned some pathetic things that are happening with those slave boys from Amazonia. Intelligent, nice looking, cute, and I mean, you can use all forms of attributes to describe their beauty, but they are living in beggary. And when you see them outside, they are groaning, and what only helps them to look a little bit normal is the coat that they wear and the grammar, the French suit and the grammar that they are talking. That's all. But if you get closer to them, you see the agony that they are actually in before they actually get into what we call hellfire, which is going to happen. Because if you sell your brother, you are not different from Judas Iscariot. And so I want to thank Chairman Theo for the effort, because some of these things are just out to make sure that they discourage you to say that. And if you go in to ask Chairman Theo, he will tell you that some of the people that have disappointed him are fellows that he trusted. He felt that they were together in this business. He felt that the deliverance of Amazonia was the focus, but some of them kind of found. That's why I hear some people say that they don't want the war to finish. They don't want this genocide to finish because they are making gains. But let me tell you, Amazonians, any gain you make over one Amazonian's blood that has been split because of your gain that you want to make, you pay for it. If you don't pay for it here, of course, I hear people say, talk of karma. It will go down. And I remember in my Bible, when I was reading my Bible, God promised people who were recalcitrant, people who were stubborn, I say that I will visit the iniquity of you, the fathers, upon your children's children unto the third and fourth generation. And that is still happening today, except that child gets out and has the opportunity to jump out by himself. You'll find them bury it. You go to some homes, beautiful girls, nice looking, cute, well brought up, but they're not married. You go to some useless, they just become useless in the society. This is as a repercussion, because when Ambazonians, so southern Cameroonians, came in and had their own portion of land, they were a people with a difference. And even Bia recognized that they were people with a difference. Honesty was part of their lifestyle. Truthfulness was part of the game that they were playing. And sincere and being keeper of one another. Most of us in the diaspora will see that. Go back to La République Cameroon. A very rich man will tar the road from his house to his gate. Where the gate ends, he stops there. And because other people are using the major road that is passing around his house, he will not dare throw even gravel. Let them suffer together. But he has the money and the capability of doing that. But when you come out here, you learn community work. You live as a community. You are taking care of not only yourself, but of other people. And that is what Ambazonia wants to institute. But Bia seeing that these people, if they leave them together, they will do what nobody will be able to undo them. He sent infiltrators. And the purpose of these infiltrators is to discourage people like Theo. But I want to thank God for Chairman Theo that discouragement is not his portion, because all of us, we agree this is God ordained struggle. And being God's ordained struggle, you do the best that you can do and you leave the rest for God. So, thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much. Thank, thank you very much, Pastor Commando, for filling in the gap so diligently and with so much wisdom. I think we need to make progress with the discussion. We're going to get into, um, because this is a core. You have county chairs, a lot of controversies. I remember a couple of times I've called you, Chairman Theo, and we cried together on some misconducts, particularly being engineered from the House of County Chairs. So we're getting into that house right now, and you are the door. A lot of things are happening. Camara, who is supposed to be heading that house, is unwavering, is sending unwavering support to London. You saw the charade over the weekend. Even the nursing school graduation of my little daughter was better. I'm talking about everything, not just the streaming. It was just God talking. Marashe said God was talking, and they seem to be resistant to the voice of God. But I want us to look on critical issues
Paddy,
that
before you
has
get
to
there,
do.
one thing is very clear. Don't call London. I don't know whether that was London, but that wasn't London. Because when you talk of London, you are talking of the Southern Cameroon Community, UK, right?
Okay, should
Of
I say
which
Ndo's
these
house?
individuals
Iya
have been
Marianta's
kicked out.
bedroom.
Yeah, it was somebody's bedroom, I can tell you. Because this individual was kicked out of our Southern Cameroon
Of
Community,
the
UK,
Southern Cameroon community.
expelled. Because we founded this Southern Cameroon Community UK and we've done so much to bring the revolution to where it was. There was one time that the revolution, we were running from the Southern Community UK, and we've decided to say enough is enough for this. They were, I mean, they stepped on our toes, they crossed lots of red lines. We remained patient, you know, but when it reached that one, which they needed to do what they did, we just had to push them out, and now we are strong again. And I will promise you, there's more that is going to be coming from the UK. We are preparing now for the Commonwealth Games, which are in Birmingham. We will be there to protest. We will be there to stop the games. Insofar as Cameroon is coming, let me promise you, if French Cameroon is sending athletes there, we are going there to stop the games. We'll take holidays off. We'll go there in our numbers to make sure that the voice of Amazonia is heard. You know, if during the war and people can protest for Ukraine against the other thing, then I don't see any reason why Cameroon should be there when they are killing our people. So that's just a bit from the UK. But again, there are a lot of things we are planning now to start visiting the different MPs. We are so happy that the corona, in one way or the other, is gone, and we can go on the street again, start talking to our MPs, start meeting them, and start putting the political pressure we need. So we're going to work harder than ever. I'm telling you, we're just going to start. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Secretary Ambrose. You're bringing a new revelation that Iya Marian Tando was booted out of the Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia community. And therefore, the booted out comrade in the UK took dismissed Abongwa. I saw Kukubli. I saw the man who had resigned. What's his name? He had resigned from the Restoration
Wonja,
Council.
wonja, wonja, wonja,
Wonja
wonja, wonja.
Wonja, who had resigned from the Restoration Council. I saw a couple of individuals. This lady took them into her bedroom for a charade, and you can call anything, you can call it any name, and they said it was an inauguration. But this is, I'm getting back to Chairman Theo because there is a connection to this. Camara, out of affiliation, would rather join Marianta in her bedroom than to join Amazonians on a platform where we are talking to the international community. And I understand that Camara has made some decisions sometimes not in sync with what the House made. Can you talk to Ambazonians as they prepare to receive you, the county chairs, on Thursday? What is that house doing to take care of this quagmire?
Thank you, Comrade Paddy. And yes, where do I start? Or what do I say? It is quite troubling. It's quite troubling and quite emotional when things tend to be going the way they are going right now, as far as this struggle is concerned. Sometimes, for those of us who really have the the mind, the kind of mind we have, when things go the wrong way, we tend to be very, very emotional, and sometimes it takes out the words from our mouth. I fall among those category of people. But then, for some time now, to tell the truth, the House of Cheers has been divided, really, really divided. I must say it as it is, really, really divided. Uh, and what most of us have been doing is trying to align and trying to justify our reasons for the alignment, or trying to justify our conviction that I belong here because of this, or I belong there because of this. Most of the chairs in the county chairs house, I think they have names, they have pseudonyms, they have not pseudonyms. I mean, they have nicknames depending on where they perceive or where they are perceived to belong. If I take myself for an example, I will always want to go back to how my LGA is and how MESAM is. MESAM is, I mean, strong and really united and bonded with a clear vision that this is what they want to fight for. And they want to fight for under this institution, under this president, at this particular time in question. For Bafut, what happened to, unfortunately or fortunately, be the chairman, uh, it is, we are strong behind the government, behind our institution, and we sit and we discuss things that are troubling to this interim government, that are plaguing the revolution, and we put our heads together and we see which way is the best to follow, and we fight with our elbows. Fighting with our elbows mean, uh, when we finally settle, or either we agree to disagree or disagree to agree, we will still have a place or a time to shake our hands. So we don't soil our hands, but we soil our elbows as we fight. But when I took this characteristic to the the House of County Chairs, I was very, very cautious, and I was very, very careful with the way I said anything in there. But I was like a sponge. I needed to gather exactly what was the thought process of all the LG, the chair, the county chairs, so that I could see how I can tap into their insight, tap into their, productive thought process that could help the struggle, help my county, help my LGA. But again, it was so toxic, toxic in the sense that there was virtually no unity. The unity there was either you are of the opinion that uh, President Sako was not doing the right thing, or he needs to be changed, or he needs to be impeached, and if he's impeached, is he right to impeach him at the process of impeachment, right, and stuff like that. So to cut a long story short, it was not the best place to actually put anything productive. We have county chairs who were there that were really, really proactive and bent at seeing that we all forge ahead together to see how we can solve the problem, the Ambazonian problem, not an individual problem. This issue of individual problems and the problem as a whole, as Amazonia, was completely missing in that part. And there were instances where I found myself speaking the language of northern zone and southern zone. All this came into play, and it really was not a place for me to develop as far as our struggle is developing. So I realized the only thing to do was to uh, preach the bigger picture. If we could look into the bigger picture where we stood at this present, where we stand at this present moment, what is needed to be done for sanity to return into the structure, into the minds of our people. Considering what our people were suffering in the ground, it was not easy. I will tell you, it was not easy, and right up to now, it is not easy because it is completely broken. The House of County Chairs is completely broken. There are two parties. And of course, when I talk about two parties, I would not like to call names because that is not my style. But we know that the House of County Chairs, it is completely broken. And what I only pray, the only thing I can pray is, luckily we have a man of God, is no matter how split the House of County Chairs and the counties are divided, we still have to maintain this positive mindset. How can we continue to pray and ask God to at least come into our minds and see if there is a way for people to see the truth, follow the truth as we persecute this struggle? Now, there's one thing that I learned my short time in the House of County Chairs is people tend to, most of the county chairs, or some of them, they tend to preach, they want people to follow what they think. If it's not this way, if it's not their way, it must be the highway. Now, and there's no room for people to sit together and talk and find solutions to existing problems. So that 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 chaotic environment made it so suspicious for any county chair to bring something that was productive and say, if we look at it this way, how can we solve this problem in this direction? So everybody was suspicious of everybody, and in that kind of an environment, nothing productive can come out of it. It's a big problem for this structure and for this interim government, because if people had if we have a common vision, our common enemy is the Republic, our common goal is to get a Boya. Now we might agree to disagree, but it depends on how we agree to disagree. So this was actually lacking in the House of County Chairs. I'm saying if there are mincing words because the route that most of us took in that house was not the best route, and it has yielded just what we have in front of us. You find county chairs who today they are here, tomorrow they are there. We find county chairs who you do not even know if they are if where they belong. So for me as an individual, I ask myself, why am I in this revolution? Why am I in this struggle? What are my contributions? Am I contributing to destroy it or contributing to build it? And if I'm contributing to build it, then I have to allow room for different ideas, but aimed at a specific goal. And my specific goal is Boya. So I will not go castigate. You will not hear me castigating people, giving them people names, or say, oh, you are a black leg, or you, because you're not on this camp, you are a black leg or green leg or whatever. I will not go that. You will never hear me saying that. Why? Because I strongly believe that no matter what, if you are for a common goal, if we are for a common goal, which is Boya, no matter how we disagree, we can still sit in the same room and talk about those things that makes us stronger as a unit rather than divide us. And that is why I still think this coming conference, ASSC2, is a better platform for all of us to come, sit, listen, share, and then make constructive ideas, informed constructive ideas, and get to resolutions that will propel this struggle to the next level. Paddy, it's not my style to always talk about individuals or castigate people or talk about what A said or what B said. I always like to put it in the whole, and I look at the positive path that we as people, we are mere mortals. We have our mistakes, we have our, challenges, we have our shortcomings. But if we look at things from a very positive angle, we can always forge ahead together rather than forging ahead separately. Because if you say we are forging ahead separately, and then the chaos continues. But if we look at the possibility of thinking on the same direction, even coming from different
Same
angles,
platform.
yes, we can always, defeat the enemy, which is not the public. So again, sometimes I might sound a little bit I mean, coming in from different angles, but the way I look at things, the way things are in the county chairs, which is quite obvious, is that it is completely polarized, it is completely divided, and the only thing I pray for is if we as individuals can search deep in our subconscious mind, search deep into our better nature and see how we can actually come back to the drawing board and recalibrate and see how we can actually forge ahead and save Ambazonia from the chaos that is awaiting us if this divide continues. And Comrade Pastor Commando, yesterday I went through Psalm 62. Why am I sharing this? Because I think it's a very powerful Psalms, and I would recommend that you take a whole program to see how you can break that Psalms down and see how people can actually tap into it, because it is really a positive Psalms. I don't know how to. I'm not like quite versed in bringing it down, but if you get down to it, please try to see how you can uh, send it out there, put it out in a way that people can actually buy into it. It might be softening people's hearts and make us know that this, again, is a God ordained structure, it's a God ordained revolution, it's a God ordained fight. And no matter what, no matter shortcomings, all the side bullets that we are receiving from all angles, we have a focused interim government, we have focused leaders, we have focused people who are unwavering no matter what. So if we have that mindset, I think every other thing that is coming will just be secondary, and I think we will surely get there. So again, Paddy, Comrade Paddy, for a question about county chairs, it is obvious out there, but what we need to be doing is we need to remain focused, because the truth will always be the truth, and truth can never be overshadowed by darkness.
Right.
I agree with you. You said too.
Comrade Paddy,
You said.
please, just let me just make a little comment before we go. Just
Go ahead.
say something. Yeah, the Psalm 62 is talking about is actually talking about God's guidance and protection for those who stand with Him. And when we say that this revolution is God's own, the confidence we place in God will give us that protection. Now, Chairman Theo, I just want to interject and say here that in our Ambazonian quest, we have come up to begin to teach ourselves, teach us Ambazonians, the reality of politics, because politics was originated by God. It's not the devil who brought in politics. It was God who brought in politics. The unfortunate thing is that devil saw the unity that man was going to live through politics and came in with dirty men who came in and dirty the politics. Politics is not dirty, except you will tell me that the definition of the dictionary about politics is wrong. It simply means activities associated with governance. So if activities associated with governance is dirty, then politics is dirty. But if it is not, definitely the people that carry out the activities that are associated with governance should be the dirty people. And you will not expect something good from a dirty man. And so I want to stop here. And when time comes, I'll make a little comment more. But take heart, stand on the truth. When there are only two people standing for the truth, definitely, especially when God is involved, as you have quoted in the Psalms, I want to tell you that Ambazonia is in good footing. So all the noise you are hearing and the disarray with county chairs, don't be frightened, but just go ahead, because the truth will definitely bring out the light, and that is what Ambazonia stands for. Sorry, Paddy, that was just a comment I wanted to
No, that's
add
fine.
to what.
Pastor, you
you.
just
Thank
did
you
it
so much.
right. I wanted to read that psalm, but the
Okay.
full overview you have made, there's no need for now for me to do that. I have it in front of me. I was just about reading it so that we could
Okay.
enjoy it. But you
I
have
would have,
just given the
I would have,
inside of it.
I would recommend you read it. Don't take chances. It might change souls. It might change hearts. Right, as
Yeah,
people
Okay.
yeah.
are watching.
So
All
you have mentioned
right. All
two
right.
things. You mentioned the no unity in the house, which is a great concern, and a huge split. And that's the next phase of our discussion, which Comrade Ambrose is going to come in. I wish I had Comrade
That's
Neba
fine.
full And Mara, share, please. And you have to tell us how many women are in the house. We can't, when testosterones are all over the place, there is always an issue. Are you people thinking that? And the people would have to determine if they are sending in women, not just because you want to send in women, but women that can fully represent, Dr. Winnie Lobati. And let me just announce to you, the press conference tomorrow is going to be with Barrister Valentine Ghana, Dr. Winnie Lobati. You're going to have the Secretary of State for Communications and IT being a part of that press conference. The Vice President is going to be a part of that press conference. And all the heads of committee will be a part of that press conference. So, with the permission of those watching and everyone here, I'll be reading Psalms 62 from verse 1. It's a very short psalm to verse 12 from the King James Version. Just permit me to do that real quickly. Truly, my soul waited upon God. From him cometh my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. How long will ye imagine mischief against a man? Ye shall be slain, all of you, as a bowing wall shall ye be, and as a tottering fence. They only consort to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They blessed with their mouth, but they cursed inwardly. Selah. My soul wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory, the rock of my strength, and my refuge is in God. Trust in him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Selah. Surely men of low degree are vanity, and men of high degree are a lie, to be laid in the balance. They are together lighter than vanity. Trust not in oppression, come not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart. God had spoken once, twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto God. Glory to God. Also unto thee, O Lord, belongeth mercy, for thou renderest to every man according to his work. This is amazing. We want to be great. We're grateful, Pastor Commando, for shedding the light on this scripture, and Chairman Fusi. Let's get into the crux of the matter. You're going to make a comment after Secretary Ambrose will speak. Listen, from Mezam chair, the house is not united, meaning ASSC 2, you should be expecting different different spirits of argument. Now, the worry we're having now is to be sure if some of these county chairs are actually representing their constituencies and opinion, or their opinion. But Chairman Fusi categorically and clearly stated that some of them, it is their way or the highway, meaning they are there like this man, this nigger, Dr. Epa, being serving himself, serving CPDM agenda in the house, not serving what the people want. Number two is very vital. There is a huge split. Chairman Fusi has refused to give us details of the split. So what are we expecting? What strategies like you working in liaison with the Home Affairs and Community Mobilization? What are we putting in place? Yesterday, I was in a meeting when the Secretary of State for Home Affairs and Community Mobilization, Comrade Neba Steve Fu, was telling us that at least 12 counties will be fully represented. And he exercised concerns as to the conduct of Camara and the way he's hijacking the Indian county. And then there are some issues with Lebi Alem, but fortunately, some AGS, the chairman of ALO is vibrant and participating. So I would say Lebi Alem is partially, but they are working hard And that is why there was a meeting today to ensure that there is full representation, because this is not all a conference of people that come to talk to themselves. This is a conference that is expected to have all the chairs actually coming to share opinions sent by their people. Now, Comrade Ambrose, talk to us. What is what should we expect now that we know? Perhaps you knew this and didn't tell us. We now know that there's not been unity among county chairs. And then there is a huge split. But then I'm also giving you an information and assurance coming in from the man on top of the game right now of Home Affairs and Community Mobilization. Comrade Neba is telling us that he is sure that there will be full representation from 11 chairs. Talk to us, please. For 11 counties.
Okay.
Out of 13 counties, we are sure of 11 counties. Talk to us.
I don't want to focus on that. Let me just tell you what I have in my mind now. I'm glad Ground Zero is watching us. I'm glad Ambazonians in the diaspora are watching us. There's one thing which is clear. Ambazonian from the 13 counties are with us. And Chairman Theo, I'm a bit disappointed with what is happening in the House of County Chairs. Of course, it's a society whereby my fear has always been we don't want in this liberation struggle to give so much power to individuals. I may be hated for this, but I've always stood that for the fact that the LGAs should be given the power which the county chairs have right now. Because that way, we don't mince with our words. If you are not doing the thing our people want you to do, we vote you out. We bring in a new person. You must be there representing the people. The very fact that a county chair is there and is not even talking for let me take an example of you. If you are in the house and you are not even talking for the people of you're talking for yourself, that is the worst, which is not the case with you. You're not talking for the people of Bafut. You're not talking for the people of Tuba. You're not talking for the people of Santa. You're not talking for the people of Bali. You're not talking about the people of Bamenda 1, Bamenda 2, Bamenda 3. Then there is a problem. Now, if you get a county chair who is representing his own views, it means that he is seeing himself as he's a superior LGA chair than other LGA chairs. That is wrong. Because these LGA chairs, they work hard every week, day in, day out, to raise funds for their LGAs, to support the country, to do the things they do. So, my view has always been, and whether people like it or not, I've always said it, that if it is possible, let us make sure the power is given to the grassroots. We can't say we're giving power to the grassroots and we're taking the power from the grassroots. Let the LGAs be present. Let them be represented. Let them have their say in that house of LGA chairs or whatever they will call it. We know that it becomes clear. I know the president and others said there should be coordinators, right? Of course, if we want to have coordinators, let us be very clear of who coordinators are. County chairs coordinators, we must be very clear how that coordination will work. You know, that coordination will work because you are representing the voice of all the 7 LGA chairs in Mezan. Any decision taken, you must be able to sit with them to be able to get their opinion before you say Mezam said this. You know, that is how I see it. But if you give so much power to an individual who does not fully understand what is happening or does not even consult with the other LGA chairs, then that is not how you run a county. It makes, that is why Dr. Commando, you said implementation and all the like. I think I never wanted to class that as implementation, but it's just the abuse of what is supposed to be. You understand? what we genuinely consider as a mutual relationship with for all LGAs within a county has now become something different. It is not what we perceived when we were writing the Amba Peace Plan. We are expecting that within a county, the LGA should come together, collaborate, discuss issues, talk together, and solve these issues together. But when you get an individual, it happens, and even with the county chair of the former county chair of Momo, it was almost like a cabal, 2 or 3 people doing their things and doing and nobody understanding anything. Marashe is here
Right.
sitting with a lot of other people who were just like some idiots watching a show that we never even knew where it was going to.
I'm telling you.
These are the type of things we must avoid. Dr. Commando, maybe you have experience in your area or your country, but these are the things. So the people of Ambazonia, the assurance I want to give, and I will keep on saying, we are going to the ASSC 2 as a united people. United because we are not thinking, although there is this polarized county chairs, it doesn't actually, House of County, it doesn't actually represent the mindset of the Ambazonians. It doesn't,
At all.
because thousands of Ambazonians cannot be represented by 12 individuals in a house or 13 individuals. So
Ah,
let us be very clear and positive that thousands of us in the UK, in Austria, in Canada, all over the place, right, are united to go to ASS to and talk out. Of course, there may be issues, but we will sit on the table as a people, bring these problems, analyze them, and try to solve them.
sure.
But we must make sure we don't put too much power in the hands of individuals. We have faced this. The Secretary of Communication, Secretary Chris, has became what he became just because he had so much power in himself. He will
Alone.
decide when to go out, what to say without any consult. You need at that level, whether the board, the ABC board, was doing what they were supposed. No, you need to censor things that people have to talk. You need to look at things and not that an individual will just do the things he does. Of course, when you do like that, you feel so powerful. You feel like you are the voice. You feel like the person you're listening to. Of course, he was doing a great job to the revolution. But the whole stuff is we are a government, for crying out loud. We are an interim government. We must do things systematically. Governance must be in there. We cannot just do things like we are in the lowest level of maturity. We should be established after this year as an established. We have the structures in place to make us robust. But we must make sure we don't give so much power to individuals. Be it Secretary Chris,
Yeah,
be
yeah,
it who,
yeah.
we look at different departments and say, oh, these are your roles and responsibilities, and these are the lines you don't cross. But if you believe that you are appointed by the president, which is wrong, we work in corporate environments, right? Let me tell you, a line manager is a line manager. No matter how small he is, no matter how he is your line manager, you are
Answerable.
responsible for, you are reporting to him in anything. I would feel so disappointed. I work in a corporate environment. I'm a certified information security professional. I have people in the development security and operation that I manage. How would I feel if this individual do not even get the information I give them to do and they disrespect me? How would I feel? Would I keep on all the time escalating? I may start thinking, oh, they're doing it because I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. But that is not allowed. If you've worked in a corporate environment, line of
That's the
reporting is
etiquette.
line of reporting. Okay. When you are big enough and you promoted to that line where you are the big person, that is fine. Be my guest. But right now, if you're a vice president, you are a vice president. A vice president is never a president. The very fact that the
Right.
president gives you a lot of responsibility to do these things does not mean that you should abuse the power he's giving you. The Secretary of Communication is the same thing. The very fact that the president allows you to do the things you do, it doesn't mean that you should use it against him. These are the things we've seen here, and they are very annoying because these are grown-up men. And like the vice president is a surgeon, he should understand. Even in the hospital in which he works, there are other senior managers of the hospital.
Former
You don't
vice
just do things.
president, former vice president, former vice
The
president.
former vice president Abongwa,
Yeah, thank
He is
you.
a surgeon. He should
I
fully
should know.
understand that in a corporate environment, he should not behave the way he behaved. It's wrong. It's completely wrong. It shows that when you bring that type of attitude, nobody will respect you anyway. Because as the Secretary of State, we were reporting to him. We couldn't be report to the president. Of course, we are following that line of duty because we have that corporate mindset. Because we are thinking of being an Ambazonia based on good governance. That's what we do. You know.
Marashe, please. I want you to just chip in something very quickly. I'll play an audio, and that's where we'll conclude this discussion. If possible, I hope to bring Chairman uh, Fusi and Secretary Ambrose again tomorrow so that we have some pre-discussions before we get into the press conference. The press conference might be taking place pretty late in the night, but ABC Amba TV is promising you that they'll be there to stream it live from Washington. Delegates, some delegates would have been in Washington already from different parts of the world that are participating on for this conference. I just want to hint you that from our intelligence, we are getting that on his own platform. I'm talking about Chris' own platform. His own guest, if I may say, was busy educating him on how to do reporting. You know, this man was saying that people are putting money in the private pockets. And on his platform, his guest told him, listen, I cannot start until I have proof. So Chris Ano, as always, Amazonians, you listening to him, he is always there to misinform, disinform you with his lies. He knows how to lie very well. And I guess there's a crowd that really like to listen to those lies. And there are some other aspects tomorrow that I promise is going to be a part of our discussion. We have information that he has just been disgraced on from. So tomorrow's program is going to be exceptional. You do not want to miss it. So much is going to happen. I hope to still have some people have this discussion. I'm going to play an audio. This audio will be linking us. It will
Am
link
I
us
not coming
to
before the audio?
conclusion. If you're going to talk, you're going to talk before the audio. It will link us to our
Okay.
conclusion, and that has to do with the treasury. We will all speak briefly, but I want Marashe to chip in on this attitude of high-headedness of some county chairs, and let's move on.
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Paddy again. Thank you, Chairman and Theo and Secretary Ambrose and Pastor Commander again. Listening to Chairman Theo talking, and to Secretary Ambrose, it just came to my mind. I've jotted down to some points, but what just hung in this last moment is that no matter, I would just, for me, coming from a conflict resolution background, I always I always think of what can be done after a process. What should we decide on? So I begin to see that no matter, irrespective of our level of education, our titles, our qualifications, there is something that is missing: governance, which is something that Ambazonia or La Republique did not give us. When we were small, we used to learn civics. Civics was that subject that used to be in school that was like governance. I would like to say that in order that people learn some good governance and law abiding and ethics and something, anybody that should, there should be a class, a platform for anyone that will come into the office as LGHS, even up to the office of the presidency. And when people will be missing for these classes, they should be charged, because many people go their way, professing their own opinions, just as we see. They go on individual basis than to go collectively. That is the problem that we have, that house is divided, or there are problems there. It's just that they forget, they think that the powers that they have in their hands, may I just go talk my own thing. They think that, let me just go and talk. And secondly, many people did not follow the new electoral bureau system to know that you are an LGHA first before you were just elevated to go in that house to go and represent. You do consultation with the other ones before you go there. Not that you have the whole responsibility to just walk in there and take a chair as the governor of the country. Because most people started seeing themselves that I am the governor of this problem, or I am the geo of my something. That is why they think this La Republic mentality again, not consulting with people, not going down to the grassroots. They just go up there, gather themselves, and talk from their own point of view. So I would suggest, I would think that in as much as our people need good governance, law abiding, education, sensitization in a class, good, we are going to ASSC. Some of those resolutions should be inscribed for the people, for us to carry from henceforth. And people should be attending those classes, just like Zoom meeting, each time they are going on, so that people will not go on their own. And the second thing is, as Secretary Ambo's talk is said, is it really necessary that we really have this house? Because people go there, they talk for themselves, they go and split themselves, house of chairs. You will expect that something profess, something relevant, something really for the people will come out from there. But what do we get? It's just this kind of hatred, bitterness. People coming with this La Republic divide from origin, northwest, southwest, conception, they carry it all along the struggle to continually dividing the house. That is what some people still have. And we still have to flush out from people's system through the governance lectures that I think people should be attending to know where they come from, why we should be fighting this war. People should sit in that class and attend it, even if it's 30 minutes each time that there will be that class. Everybody should log in and learn something from somebody that has learned or studied
What
governance.
you're talking about is a refresher courses.
Yes, something like that. We all need it because when you are a surgeon, maybe you for the past 20 years you did not think of governance and you are just called up to hold a post, an office of administration. It entails so much that you have to go back to your books and start reading. How do I get there? How do I manage with people? How do I go along working in a group? How do I do consultation? How do I resolve conflict? How do I identify one even before they even get there? So these are things that we should be able to teach ourselves. No one is left out because we come from different backgrounds, engineer, architect, this, that, and that. For 20 years, 30 years of our studies, we did not get in contact with any administrative or governance work, and you are suddenly called into an office of responsibility. You don't know how to deal with personnel. You don't you don't see what is in front of you, you cannot manage it, and you do it your own way. And when people don't listen to you, animosity, grievances, all these malice, they start coming in, and your ideas become the one that if it is not taken, people hate me, people don't like me. So all those things we should try and flush it out from people, and try to sell the reasons why Amazonia should be made manifest, because we know that there are a whole lot of our people in La Republic, like the Munzus and the rest, who are distorting the history and telling the people out there. For those of us who have come close to the fact that we understand the necessity for homeland, we should bind ourselves and let people focus and understand deeper why we should stay focused to the end. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
I just wanted to chime in a little bit from what Secretary Ambu said and what Mani also said. I think if you look at it quite, if you look at it, the in-depth problem that the grassroots is facing is because of their gullibility. So if we also try our best to narrow or to limit that gullibility by actually educating the people on the grassroots that their voices are also very powerful, and if they cannot channel their aspirations through their county chairs, they can channel it directly to uh, the higher quarters, because from what we are seeing right now is most of the county chairs will make decisions on behalf of their people without being informed. These are not informed decisions. If I take the case of Mezam as an example, I think there are one or two times that I have spoken without doing due consultations with the Mezam chairs, who also have to also consult their grassroots. It was not easy. I felt the heat that was coming from the LGA cheers, and I knew exactly that that was a mistake I made because I thought we all fell in line with that decision. But I realized that no, I was not supposed to make that decision by myself. I needed to consult the LGA cheers, who in turn had to consult the grassroots through all the other proxies to know if this is their aspiration. And I think if we're all following this route, a lot of things would have been passed down to the grassroots, and they would have been, happy with what is going on. So what I'm just trying to say again is, like, just to add to what you're saying, we really need to preach this out and sensitize our people that they need to air out their voices. If they cannot air out through their county chairs or through their LGA chairs, they have the platforms like what we have right now. They have other channels to say what they think. Like the ASCC conference that is coming up, the ASSC conference that is coming up. They can chime in. They can, sign in and say what they think, what they feel, what is it that they want from this interim government. Because if we continue to only think that the county chairs will say what the people want, I think we'll be misled. Many will be misled. So just to add to what you say, I think we have to preach that. We have to actually do that civic classes so that people are educated on how to air out their views and aspirations.
Why I endorse refresher courses in governance, in institutional frameworks, especially in modern day where we will have to be prosecuting a war with a government structure, is because our parents, after independence, had to start leading themselves. And there were structures for refresher courses. I remember my father just left, or you had people that just left high school, and they were employed in banks, employed in different places. And before you knew it, they had refresher courses and they got better. So we have in a struggle where you have, like the president would put it, you have people might be talented and they're not available. And sometimes you want to use that are available. And they need to be humble for training. And this is leading us to one of the things I'm about to play, the audio play. It's about 4 minutes. And you realize that our people are supposed to consider whoever they will be selecting to represent them at the ASSC, especially those. Now we know the defunct Restoration Council. After ASSC, is it going to become? Is it going to be reconstituted? Is it going to be, some have predicted that it's going to be dissolved. Some have predicted that it will just be cancelled out from the government structure. Whatever it is, if we're going to have another structure where the people will be represented by honorables, these people should be honorables. So, Chairman Fools showed us that at the level of Mezam, they are working from the grassroots to make sure that the people are fully represented in whatever decisions that we made. But I want to play this. It's from a regular figure that some of us know. This is supposed to be an honorable member of the House of Representatives or the Restoration Council. You can really listen to him and you see this man, either he has just despised the interim constitution, or he even read it and did not understand, or he is just dull. I'm sorry if I had another word, but let's listen.
Yeah, comrade. You see, I think one time a situation happened that might not have been foreseen or were foreseen. They foresaw.
Can we have it louder?
As I said, talking here
Is
for
it
the
louder?
Restoration Council anyway. It's just my humble opinion that you're on all of our talk here. But I had a little bit of idea, but when I sit in that council to from time to time throw light to what is happening there, and not speaking for the council. What I'm trying to say here is that the illegal means that whatever no illegal, it is now to supersede where this happens. We had closed down the treasury. That's what we're able to do. And we could not foresee that a fraudulent means can be hashed to undo what we're doing. We already did the right thing, closed down the treasury. That was proacting, as you say, it's what proactive. We know that the wrangling was going, and the best thing was supposed to do, let's close down the treasury, which we did before this will come up. But now, we are just saying that if we had that meeting where we would have done something different. I don't know which. You were saying that maybe I'm defending the racial council. I don't know which actions would have done it. Because they went the illegal. I don't really know whether it's illegal. Who trumps the decision in that treasury? The Restoration Council, which is override, do that, which we did. And the deal was sealed down. So if they've taken illegal measures, I don't know whether it's illegal, whether they got to still over the decision of the ASSC. That still to be determined. And when these things happen, the ASSC have to be thinking of how did this happen? Do they have the voice to override that of the ASSC? They think before they take action, they don't just get up, okay, it happened today, let's go and do it today. You do consultation. That's why most of us, when something is the council, people say, oh, they are delaying. Council do not just act like one person. They do consultation, they deliberate, they arrive at the decision before they send it out there. And when they do some investigation and looking for material that is necessary for people to consume legally and not fraudulently. I know that fraudulent action do not often go in what is right. If they've done it fraudulently, which I don't yet know whether the board has overriding to that of the council. I will not tell you that I know that for now. But then that's what the council is trying to look into. This is how did it happen? Proactive, and let me reiterate, proactive. But the fact that we already see the council, the treasury, so that nothing happens. Before this happened, they don't know illegal means to go do what they just did. And when they've done it illegally, we cannot just go, why not to go there and start fighting the bank. We will look for legal means. This is how we can confront them. And then what they can say maybe is doing research on that to know what to do in that respect. If you just come and go arrest, they say, okay, you went here, do this. As my friend was saying, we act legally, we don't act with illegality. And legality, you do research and find out something before you go at it. So I suppose that is what is going on now. And we all understand our frustration, what is we're doing. But we need to calm down a little bit and think how other bodies work before we start blaming them. And I say we understand, all of us understand the people. That's why anyone was supposed to have done, anyone was supposed to have done this. The pro-action, as I say, was the fact that we seal the treasure, then nothing goes on. But they've used other means to not done. We are now starting to see how they got to that and what is supposed to be done in respect to that. From there, we go ahead to do it. Thank you.
Fellow Amazonians, ladies and gentlemen, dear panelists, we're all going to make comments. We have all heard. We have all heard what that is. Bruno Atiabet. That's Bruno Atiabet actually talking. I don't know. Please don't call me at this time. I'm live. So you heard Bruno Atiabet actually saying that they made an uninformed decision. Oh God. So he's saying this. They made an uninformed decision. See, Amazonians, how can you? I've told you You cannot be following Confucianists in their confusion. If you listen very to what Atiabe just, he's saying that we don't even know. That means we made a decision out of ignorance. And in our ignorance, don't blame us too much, because now he's trying to say that we know and we don't know. In our ignorance, don't blame much, because as it stands, we are going to find out whether we have an override or a right to do what we did, or whether we can go and fight the bank or whatever. The Treasury or the Ambazonia Foundation is not a bank. It is an institution. A bank is just one of the things owned by Ambazonia Foundation. Ambazonia Foundation is owned. I'm not going to educate on that. I think the president himself having a press conference and will definitely be discussing to Ambazonians. Don't call. We're not going to receive calls tomorrow. We will definitely take calls. Please do not call. Not taking calls today. Ambazonians, the president will come and educate and talk on something on issues. Now, I said something 2 days ago, and I said a bit earlier on today, and I want to say it again. These are victims of Chris Arnold. You don't follow a blind man. Why do I call Arnold a blind man? Because this is a man that was supposed to be a communications secretary and understood nothing in the interim constitution. Understood nothing in his terms of reference of office. It's not an insult. I'm giving you facts. I'm telling you authoritatively. Today on his live show, I was not there, but I've been properly informed. We already have the videos and captions of the foolishness today. He was being educated on TV today as to his mistake. A panelist told him, Mr. Arno, I will not talk without proof. Why he's trying to tell people that the money in the treasury is going into private pocket, a panelist, please stop. I'm not going to be a part of this folly. So you find Atiabe confused by a Confucianist Arno. Now in their confusion are trying to find out if they were actually not confused. That's what they want to do. But we're talking about the United States of America that has laws. And that the president and this government has been silent didn't mean that we're ignorant. Let me tell you one last thing before I give a chance for all the panelists to speak, and then we close the show. The one last thing I want to tell you is this. Anu is aware that he has failed. But there is a pride. There is an ego. What is this ego and this pride? The ego and the pride is that he has always proven to you that he's a strong man. He had a loud voice. He's not an intelligent man. Because he is not coherent even with his own speech. He says something today and the next day he says something else. So during his own show, he's being educated of the truth about on how to communicate. So he didn't even know that the people he subscribed to clandestinely tempt fraudulent activity within the treasury did not have the legality for it. And the president was right when he took him down. The president was not talking so because of some power that he has to beat people. It was based on laws. For I said earlier on today, those following Cristiano, you are with him now in the feet. My advice to you is that you start for a way to climb out. If he wants to come out, he can follow you to come out, or he stays there. If you follow him, one of these days you find yourself in a jail with him. That's my advice for you. Secretary Ambrose, please.
Okay.
Very briefly, so that we can
Paddy, let me come in. Fellow Ambazonians, once again, good evening. There is one thing which is very clear. Ignorance for me is a sin. And if you fail if Mr. Tierbert Bruno, who said he was a Restoration Council member for the defunct Restoration Council, is sitting in that house and does not even know the Constitution, why are you in that house? Look, on the article, is Article 15, clearly states the functions of the Restoration Council. And it's just because some people cannot read. So if you go to Section 4, they say, the Restoration Council shall, in consultation with the Department of Finance and Economy, determine the fiscal and taxation policies of Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Did you get that?
I got it.
So this is the only phrase in the Constitution that tells them what the Restoration Council can do. Determine what the fiscal policies and taxation. There is nothing in this Constitution which gives the RC any iota of right to go close to the Treasury, to close the Treasury, or to audit the Treasury. It is a shame that somebody calls himself, or they sit there with the Constitution in front of them, which is what guides all of us, and they don't even understand the Constitution. They don't even read it. It is clearly stated in Article 16, is Article 15, the functions of the Restoration Council. It's a short article. It's a short article with how many sections? With 8 sections. And these are 2 or 3 lines. So 8 sections, those are your functions. You have the Constitution in front of you. You can't even read it. What is wrong with us? Just because you've conceived in your mind that you want to do something, you know is wrong, you are convinced with that, you're just looking for everything that will help you do that. It's a shame that you have people sitting in the Restoration Council who are unable to read the Constitution and even understand their own functions, their own responsibilities. It's a short session, Article 15, then with how many sections? With 8 sections. It's a shame. So, fellow Ambazonians, those of you who have not read the Constitution, go there, read the Constitution, look for your own section. What is expected for you as a citizen? If you are a Restoration Council member, the defunct one, or you're the new ones who are coming in, the only thing is go to Article 15, see, look at your functions. If it is talking about vetting people who are appointed by the president, fine. That is your function. You understand? These are easy things for you to look and say, okay, I'm getting to the Restoration Council. What is going to be what are my duties? What are my responsibilities? Why take on that mantle when you can't even be able to go to the Constitution and see what is expected of you? It's a disgrace that Mr. Bruno and his friends have just decided to be liars to the people of Ambazonia, have just decided to be callous to the people of Ambazonia. The pain, let me just tell you, the pain this thing Secretary Chris started 3 months ago, the pain that it has caused the people of Ambazonia. Now, let me tell you, even what Sisiko did is not up to what this guy did. Because I know, I work in security, the worst enemy for me in security is that person who works for me and will be able and knows the system very well, and he knows when he can be able to put a malware into my system, and I won't, because again, I may put all the defenses I have, I may put all the network security, the firewalls, anti-malware, and all the like. Of course, I'm just concentrating around the perimeter of my castle, but you are within my castle. That is what he's done. He's within my defense system, within my castle, an internal person, and then he's just shattered the interim government from within. It's more than a treasonable offense, what he's done. And some people, for whatever reason, Dr. Tita called them disgruntled or whatever they are, but I will add not just disgruntled, but disgruntled, stupid, and foolish. You understand? That is, if they were just disgruntled individual, that's fine. But they are stupid and foolish. Because if you want to really follow the narrative of somebody, you should be asking questions, asking the right questions, If you don't ask the right question, you get the answer anyway. You go ask the wrong question, you never even get answers. These are grown-ups that normally
Thank
they
you, Secretary Ambrose.
recalibrate and think about themselves and think about Amazonia, because the pain they have caused our people is unbearable. Thank you.
Chair, I would like to go with you on the Mara Chair because I want Pastor Commando to crown this.
Uh, uh, yes, Secretary Chris. Sorry, Secretary Ambrose.
Don't
Yeah,
associate me
No,
with
that's fine.
Secretary Chris,
I
because
know.
that is the
Sorry
guy.
about that.
Don't associate me with Secretary Chris, because again, when he started, this is madness as usual. As a father with my wife, with my children, all the like, I know we have issues in the family. We always resolve them within the house. I told him clean and clear. If there are issues within the house, resolve it within the house. The moment you take it out there, it goes out of proportion. I kept on,
Yeah,
and if I can show you, I had series of conversation with him, and he didn't listen to me. Just gone.
yeah. Yes, I also remember when we were trying to solve when this debacle started, and we were in the House of County Chairs. Uh, we actually had a call with him and all of us actually, and we said maybe you should allow this for us to see how we could step in and solve the problem. We thought if the county chairs stepped in and see how they could, see how to solve the problem from that initial stage, it would have stopped all this chaos that it has brought. But again, I was shocked that even after the meeting, the very next couple of hours, he was out there doing what is his best at. So it is really pathetic that he decided to choose this route. But again, all along I've been basing all my mind towards the truth and light and darkness. The revelations will keep on coming. It's not yet ended. They will keep on coming. Whether they bend us to the right or they bend us to the left, the thing is that the truth is unbendable. And we will always triumph as far as we are pursuing justice and truth. So listening to this audio that Amr Padi just played, it is baffling. It is baffling, and it is baffling, and at the same time, it is telling. You cannot just go out there and do things without uh, doing your due process and verifying and getting. I mean, just like you said, it's just sometimes you can't find words to actually qualify this what is going on. We have the constitution there. If people on the ground, on ground zero, they do not understand, we can really understand that they did not quite understand what the constitution is all about. But if this is done by people who are considered learned, I would say they are learned. Again, if you throw an insult out there that they went to school but school never went through them, would you blame someone to say that? You will not blame someone for saying that.
No,
So
speak,
again,
speak.
I would insist that we should find a way that we could, maybe break down the constitution even into pidgin English, so that the gullible ones in ground zero should be able to understand this, that this is what is happening, so that if they are saying something, they know they are saying from the truth. Because again, a majority of people on the ground, I don't think they are privy to this constitution. So what they hear is what they are being fed, and if they fed lies, if they are being fed with lies, they take the lies. But if they understand it from the broken language, even in the dialect, if the constitution is broken down to the dialects, and I think if you say anything which is not true, they have the capabilities and the weapon to say, oh no, you are telling a lie. So targeting the gullible ones back in ground zero is what has really triumphed, and is what is killing this struggle. So again, I'm just playing. I don't know who will be very good at breaking this down into our various dialects or into pidgin, the best pidgin so far, so that people in ground zero, they can understand that this is the constitution, and if someone tell you something which is out of this, then know that person is telling a lie. Again, this is what we have to preach. The conference is coming up. They also have to come up and say what they think. And bet you, so many of them will say contrary to what they've been fed with. You know. So again, Comrade Paddy, this thing is Well,
Yeah,
we keep
just what
praying.
you're saying, Chairman Fusi. The conference starting Thursday is going to be very interesting. I've
Yeah.
just mentioned that the first day, particularly week, for all to see. Even day two, you're going to have the heads coming out to educate public as to some of the things that are being done, some of the things that have been done and they're being done and that will be done. And so every Amazonian will be given an opportunity either via your, mostly via your LGA. Like Chairman Fusi just mentioned, if you want to make decisions, visit your LGA and your decisions are tabled. Because that channel, your voice will be heard. You can participate from Thursday into Sunday, but we have to keep going. I'm yet doubting if ABC Amba TV will stream. We may stream the sessions, but I'm not quite sure if all will be streamed. Marashe, please.
Yeah, thank you again, Comrade Paddy and the panel. Um, you know, when Secretary Ambrose says 3 months ago, um, 3 months ago was just the manifestation of what started cooking since March 2021. For those that were in the cabinet by then, there was this famous letter that came out that ex-Secretary Chris wrote asking the cabinet everything to be dissolved, that the government has failed, everyone is failing, people are tired, that they should do this, started giving his own recommendations and asking that at the end of the day there should be new elections and for no reason President Sarkozy should not even be a candidate amongst the newly elected. So by then people like Bruno Atiabed and many others were not even at that point to have been talking so confusedly as they're talking today. So after the scandal of that letter, instead for people to have taken that letter or deliberated on the agenda, asked the purpose and reasons why though it was done, but they downplayed it and instead focused on who sent out the letter. It was where this evil seed was planted, and before you know, they started spreading it out to all the other tiers of the government, telling people that President Sako is supposed to be disposed, he's tired, things are not working. Looking at it very well, it was that same year that on ground zero, things were happening here and there, boom, 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 boom. Everywhere was hot and people were active. But that was the year where the time where people who were on mission they planted their seeds. So to say it was just a disgruntled set of people, no, it was a well calculated plan. And they started it and he recruited so many people. Being in the sitting in the cabinet and seeing how that clique was working, it was a hell. When people did not yet know what fire, what pain they were already causing within the house, people were still sleeping and relaxing. So people just saw it when he had tried all his ways within the house. It did not work for him before he started bursting out this one woman. And somehow he had succeeded also when they said, okay, sit down, let's do the thing. He said, no, I want to go meet to the Restoration Council because he had already recruited some people like Bruno Atiabed, who in another audio we heard him saying, Secretary should calm down and they are doing everything in the Restoration Council to work for his favor. So you see how the things unfold themselves, and this revolution being a God ordained one, they get exposed at every step. But since it's a demonic plan and a strategy that they had already signed, I believe personally, I don't need any further conviction that they had already signed with the enemy. They have to do everything, even to go out of their way to do what they are doing, irrespective of who's told they step on whatever they do. They are bent on because listening to this audio, I wouldn't see how a grown-up man will be talking so inconsistently with no synchron. moving from one topic to another. You don't even understand what he's trying to say. We thought that we had closed the place, but we did not know that we did not close it, or they went to go and open it, and all those things. You see how the demonic spirit came in through a letter, metamorphosed into different stages, and entered people, that a grown-up man with wife and children will be talking like this. Because if you take this audio and give to his daughter or son, the son will ask, Dad, my own in the house here, they'll ask, Mom, what's that? They'll listen from beginning to the end. What are you trying to say? What are you saying? So I
What
don't
says
know
thou?
if people will be so low, so cheap, that they don't even know what to say again. They focus since how many months? It's almost a year now for those in the cabinet who have been feeling the pinch and the insults we've gotten, the breakups, the many things that we all know that has now come to the open. What do we say to the people? How do they even sleep and wake up? Is it because of some chicken change that you've been visited with? Or is it just because you just hate a person? Or is it just stupidly because they say somebody is disgruntled? With what? About whom are you being? For what reason? Is it more than the baby that was fried in the oil? You don't feel that pain, that you are so disgruntled that you don't care to break a house that people have been suffering for more than 60 years to build a, to maintain a government that we've been enslaved for all these years, and you just come and legitimize the enemy's plan to divide us and scatter
Agenda.
us again, from how we have struggled to build and sensitize the people. And to the people of Ground Zero, you people are very intelligent. What I will see is just that our fighters are just some of the unfortunate ones that have really been gripped to their waist because of money, because of the blood devilish money that they go and give them and deceive them. They are falling the side way. Where do you think you are going to take that money and go to? God forbid that this our revolution, something happens to it. Do you think that you will even cross the next border to Nigeria? You will not even be able to leave that place because they will tie everyone like a goat and dump in a well.
We
So for
have
all these
we have
cool
just
leaders
about
who are
5 more minutes to close.
refusing
Pastor Commando
that
has
they
so
are
much
not
to
cool
say.
leaders, yes, they let me just personally sound a warning to them that any child that is suffering in the refugee camp, or those that are displaced, or those that have become orphans, those young girls that have become orphans and their children, their widows and orphans, if they are not careful, they too will face the same thing. Thank you.
Yes, Pastor Commando, go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Secretary Ambrose, Chairman Fusi, and Ma Rachel. I think uh, I just want to say that truth in all generations has been furiously fought against in all generations. And because most of these fellows grew up in a lawless land where they had a constitution, but nobody ever looked at the constitution, as Dr. General Kometa will say, don't forget about it, forget about it. That's saying forget about the constitution, right? And then bringing up his own. I call him Dr. General Kometa. He will say, forget about it, forget about it. As a pastor, I think I know the genesis of where we are now from that. I knew it in April of 2021. April, I got that letter in my hands and I kept it. And I will not tell us here, I will not tell people here, because as a servant of God, I have done everything to investigate both Chris and Ma Irene and all the other people. I've talked with them as on personal one-to-one, on one-to-one, because I don't come out and say something that, especially if I know you, I don't say something that I've not called you to find out. No. In this revolution that's going on, if I mention your name, in most cases I have called you and we have talked together. So what I'm going to say here is that there was a revolt. There was a coup d'etat. This first coup d'etat started in heaven. If you don't know it, go and read Isaiah chapter 12. Okay, Isaiah chapter 14 from verse 12. You will see a practical coup d'etat. And then if you go again, read in the mouth of two, three witnesses, the truth shall be established. Go again and read Ezekiel chapter 28 from verse 1. You see a practical coup d'etat. And the reasons of this kind of a coup d'etat is actually to amass some kind of greatness to yourself. You are not to distribute it with anybody. We are fighting here to bring Amazonia to the grassroots, where the common man will will feel at home and will enjoy the plantain or the cocoyam that he or she has. And then you who has your whatever, you should enjoy it. But these guys are fighting to even take the cocoyam from you. And then we'll find some people back at home who are supporting these criminals. Sorry, I call them criminals because if you don't want to legitimize your people, who are you? You are a criminal. So some people are talking, and we ask this, our young men, give us the simple evidence. They say, oh, allegations, and they build on allegations and stop at allegations. And people want us to go ahead and build on allegations. Anyway, what we are saying here, Ambassadors, to educate ourselves is that this is time, this never again generation, and the 21st generation, where everything is in the I live in a machine age, but now you are living in an electronic and how do you call it, supersonic age, where everything is like this. It is known, so there is no way of hiding. And even the truth in our land, where you think that they are still in Africa and they are struggling, no, an average Ambazonian back at home knows the truth of what is going on. Apart from those who are also very gullible and they're just like butterflies running here and there, trying to get whatever they get.
To step
Now, let
to
me
and
tell
fro
you,
by any.
yes, let me tell you, let me tell us, Ambazonians, this is a God-chosen revolution, a struggle. And no matter what happens, I like Psalm 62 that our brother, the chairman, Fusi gave to us. That's Psalm 62. Go and read it. We have handed over this business to God. Now, listen, whatever we do to the best of our doing. And we stop where the best of our doing is in truth. And then God takes over. So if you didn't know that, know it today, that God is the one fighting. This is, you call his name what? Mr. Tianjong or Tianwa. He's crying.
Tiabet Bruno.
Okay, he is
He just
crying,
finished
lamenting.
drinking some cups of you and made an
Is
audio
he not?
to
No, I
please
call
Chris
it the
Arnold.
devil in solution. I call it the devil in solution. He took some the urine of the devil and drank before making that, because when you take the devil in solution, he confuses you. That's why I find people walking and talking on the street alone, because they are taking the devil in solution. Devil is in in a solid form, in all kinds of
Liquid.
forms, liquid form, so you can take the devil in any kind of a form and he will deal with you. So, but what we are saying is that, Ambazonians, stay your calm. Our president said our treasury is not under siege. Be calm. And today we hear them crying. They thought that money that they have not contributed, they will just go and lock it and take it and begin to useless it.
Chris.
No, we want to encourage you guys, go back to the Republic, get more of the demonic money so that it can become more confused, and then you turn around and kill your own people, and at the end of the day, you will be killed. But our advice, and my advice to you as a pastor, is that it is not too late. We are saying these things to let you know that it is not too late. You can come back like the prodigal son and you will be received. I know that Ambazonians are real good meaning people. And that is why they took the goodness of the Ambazonia embedded in the DNA of Dr. Sako's gene. They took it for granted and they felt he was a weak man. He felt he could not do anything. But just because he is good and he is standing on that which was handed over to him. Ambazonians, we are making it there. He stood not on anything, he stood on the God that he has trusted. And since we have handed over to God, one thing with God is that when you hand over something to God, God takes it. And when you come back to take it, you have to strike a deal with him before you take it. And that deal is like what, I wouldn't want to call his name, like what Pastor Chris did. He struck a deal with God and later on came back and joined the coup plotters to be one of the coup plotters. I will call his name because I talked with him. I preached in his church on 2 occasions when I had not yet gone to stay in America or out of the country. I flew from Ambazonia. At that time, they called me Cameroonian. I flew from Cameroon to America to preach in his church on 2 occasions. But today, I don't know what has blindfolded the minds of the Ambazonians. Please go back and listen to Dr. Chris Anu in 2019 and the early part of 2021. And then now, listen to him now. You will know the difference. You will know the difference. And then when you know the difference, please don't be neutral. Follow the truth. There is no neutrality in this business. You must follow the truth. When you know the truth and you're following it, they will attack you, the Sarkoites. That is the Sarkoism. And if you follow a lie, they will tell you that you are of the good part. Go ahead. But the truth remains to be the truth. Our hands are open, Ambazonians are open. ASS2 is just by the corner, beginning from the 10th. You are invited. Are you an Ambazonian? You are invited. Decisions will be taken there. Decisions that will help keep us moving. If all this group of people were following the constitution, the interim constitution, which we have now, would not have been in this mess. Somebody will bring a case that's supposed to go through the ethics commission, then restoration council will receive him and will not even question him. Even if they question him and he comes up with his very sweet and almost good excuses, you send him back there. Yes, you send him back there, and then let the person that, because not everybody in the ethics commission is against him. Let the people that are not against him hear him. So, but when you who say you are restoration council, you go and receive him and put him inside, you say every Ambazonia has a right to come here, and then Dr. Sako is not solving problems. Have you solved the problems, Mr. RC, or whatever you call yourselves? Anyway, we are here to tell you that we are moving on, and the truth will move on. The empty kerosene tin will make the loudest noise, and people will follow the noise. But when they come there and discover that it has no content, what happens? There will be a U-turn. But don't go and experience, because somebody told me that, hey, Pastor, you know what? I don't want anybody to teach me. I want to experience it. And he had never swum before. He jumped into the river to experience it, and he never came back to tell the story of his experience. So I am telling you, don't go into an experiment that you don't know whether you are coming back or not. Listen to those who have experimented it, and they have the pinch of that experiment. Thank you very much, and see you when we come back on board. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Pastor Commando. You're always insightful. Lady and gentlemen, Pastor Sir, thank you. You made the show complete. I believe no matter how much we would have spoken here tonight, it would have never ever been complete. We have come to the end, the close of this insightful discussion. We thought that this education and re-education process was needed for our people to be prepared before Thursday, where they have to make informed decisions. Tomorrow, we will be getting deeper. But prior to the time when maybe this same panelist will be on board, I'm going to come with some revelation so that I do not distract our discussion. Number one revelation will be on the unity forces, or whatever they want to call it. I have said it straightforwardly. It is a fraud. Listen to me. It is a fraud. It is a mask. It pre-existed. It failed. Rooftop by rooftop jargon made in Norway. And now after they failed and failed and partnered with the devil and failed, and Amazonians lost in them. They now customize it, remixed it, and then sold it to some vulnerables. Even some fighters on the ground are not aware that this is rooftop, block by block, that has been packaged and sold back to them. They're looking for ways to come back and to take us to Yaoundé. That is a fraud. Flee from it. Flee from it now. Flee from it today. I want you to flee from it. I'll be bringing in some more insightful. And then I'll also be bringing reasons as to why you need to guard your heart with all this. Choose what you have to listen to and do not listen to Mr. Arnold. This is why you are going to get lower. I'm going to prove it to you. His own speech that he's not worth listening to. It's a mistake. And unfortunately, we will have to do this because one of the ways of helping people to make progress is to differentiate between factual information and fraudulent, ill-calculated information. On that note, I would say it was a wonderful night. We have to say goodbye. I hope the studio will end our show of tonight with this insightful music.
All right.
We're
Sure the
done
studio
with the
is
show.
there? All right, let me quickly, how do I get out to go to the studio?
Your door is closed.
The door is closed. You can't get out. Okay. Okay. Bye-bye to all Amazonians.
All right.
Let's
Bye-bye.
prepare for...
Bye-bye. My regards to the family.
I'll see you in Washington shortly for the ASSC too. Please. You take
bro.
care.
You too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Bye.
I was saying, tomorrow I just want to give a recap of the program that we have in front of us. Maybe I should just read what somebody's echoing. Someone is echoing.